Yunwu smiles powerlessly, biting her teeth and holding her breath, but the child still doesn't come out, with abdominal pain. Yunwu's eyes are red and his face is blue and white. He grabs a stone on the bank and holds it hard. Blood along the fingers slowly flow down. Yunwu's body twitch like a spasm. Her tears finally flow down. Suddenly heard a bang. Yunwu will bite his teeth. But also in this moment, a small life, along the hot spring water, sliding down. Great! The elder clapped his hand and laughed, touching his beard and smiling kindly. Sitting in a coma, Yuzi finally frowned and slowly opened his eyes. As soon as his eyes were focused, he suddenly saw an incredible scene. The power of light around him, with the speed visible to the naked eye, quickly gathered to his own child in front of him, with the sound of the wind, because the wind brought by the large concentration of power moved the hair of the people around him, and the beard of the elder was dancing in the wind. Such a powerful force. Yunwu is terrified. She is afraid that such a powerful force will rush into the child's body, and the child will not be able to eat so much energy, and her whole body will be broken and die. She quickly reaches out her hand to hold the child in her arms. But suddenly, that gathered into a hurricane force, suddenly into the arms of the baby's body. Cloud Dance can't help but open his mouth, only feel the air around, the original sufficient light energy, in an instant, suddenly disappeared, along with the whole hot spring energy, also disappeared. She finally understood that this energy storm was actively absorbed by her own children. The bodyguard was so scared that he stood there, but Yuzi stood there, his mouth slightly raised. Shwa! A white light from the sky, the whole hot spring all package, instant the whole hot spring location, began to emit a faint light. Yuzi looked up at the sky. The white light was huge and bright, but it was very gentle. It seemed that the birth of the Son of Light really shocked the whole fairyland. He touched his neck and found 2 wounds and blood. Yuzi couldn't help laughing when he was bitten and bleeding. Unexpectedly, this child's teeth are not as long as they are. If he doesn't get rid of them before he grows up, maybe this child will become a disaster. Suddenly, Yuzi and Elder are completely stunned, because they feel that an energy storm, all the bright energy in the whole hot spring, has disappeared completely in this short time. 2 people looked at each other for a long time. They both saw the inconceivable in each other's eyes, and the guards also felt it. They looked around in horror. What kind of monster was this woman born with? Stunned, Yuzi thought of Yunwu, who had just given birth to her baby. She looked up and saw the hot spring in front of her. I saw the weak and tired Cloud Dance, holding the child who was washed clean by the hot spring water, falling asleep with closed eyes, and leaning gently against the stone beside the hot spring. A child in her arms, quietly breathing, body wrapped with golden energy, let his little body in the arms of the clouds emitting light. Beside Little Fat Girl and Little Potato seem to be 2 loyal little bodyguards. They look at a group of people fiercely, and sit on the head of Yunwu, with a look of death. Yuzi was dumbfounded and laughed. There was a burst of tenderness in her eyes. The woman in front of her, even though she was in a mess, was almost dead, but she still wanted to give birth to her child. Son of Light. Yuzi narrowed his eyes, murmured, carried his hands, and raised his mouth slightly. Finally, Yunwu in the hot spring opened her tired eyes, and her whole body seemed to be in a state of pain and weakness. She turned her head and looked at the fuzzy world in front of her in a trance. Elder and Yuzi just stood there, smiling at Yunwu, as if it was not the child in her hand who had just absorbed the bright energy of their sect. Little Potato and Little Fat Girl open their eyes when they see Yunwu, and come to Yunwu's side in a hurry, rubbing Yunwu's cheek intimately. Cloud Dance laughs to vomit a breath. The facial expression is pale of low head looking at the small baby in own bosom. Baby warm nestled in their own body, small thin, a birth began to sleep, indicating that the body is particularly weak, even not as big as the general full-term children, light floating. Cloud Dance holds up bursts of heartache, but his whole body exudes the power of light, but still warm and pure. This let Cloud Dance can't help but crack the corner of the mouth, smile happy. Finally, this oneself once thought to want the child in the womb, finally real birth. Suddenly feel someone around. Cloud Dance this just in the heart a tight. Think of side still have a coma of Jade Sun return. Suddenly the whole person all awake. Then he turned his head and looked at Yuzi Gui on guard. But he saw that Yuzi Guizheng was looking at himself with a smile. Standing there, it seemed that there was no serious problem. Are you awake? Yuzigi stood aside and looked at Yunwu gently. Do you feel okay? Yunwu lowers her head, hugs the child in her arms and says nothing. Since the baby has been born, why don't you go out with me? I'll take you to eat and have a good rest. Yuzigi carried his hands on his back, and his handsome face was shining gently. You know, even if you can stay in the hot spring all the time, children can't do it. This guy let go? Yunwu frowned. At that time, it was clear that she was going to kill the child. Now she asked her to take care of her body gently. She couldn't help thinking of the night. Yunwu was a little unprepared, but when she thought that the little fat girl was still by her side, she suddenly felt nervous. She hugged the little fat girl lying beside her, lowered her head and looked alert. She was already murderous. I don't believe you. You can rest assured that I am not the kind of person who will imprison you, because he wants to destroy the son of darkness. Yuzigi said. The people of Guangming sect are always open and above board. He turned to look around and said, Come on, help the girl to your house. Yunwu wants to say something more, but the people around Yuzi Gui have already helped Yunwu up. One is holding a little fat girl, and the other is holding the just-born son of Guangming and going out. Seeing someone holding little fat girl, she felt nervous for a while. With her current ability, there was no way to deal with the bodyguards in front of her. What's more, there was the unfathomable Yuzi Gueha elder. If these people took little fat girl away and killed her now, she would only have the job of watching. Yunwu lowers her head, and is thinking about how to deal with it when she suddenly sees that Yuzi Gui's people have taken her to a room, and put the two children on the bed. Then she retreats, leaving Yuzi Gui alone. He sat on the stool and motioned Yunwu to sit down. Yunwu turned to look at the two sleeping children on the bed, hesitated for a moment and sat down. After a while, a maid came in one by one with a tray and put the dishes in the box on the table one by one. At last, the table couldn't be put down, so she had to stand aside. Come and eat, Yuzigi said with a smile. Another maid came behind her, and put all the clothes on the tray on the bed. Then she stepped back. You are delicious. If you have anything you want to eat, just tell me. I will satisfy you. Then change your clothes and have a rest here. With that, Yuzigi got up and went out. Close the door gently. Yunwu blinked, completely did not think what happened, looked down at a table of delicacies, and then turned to look at the two children and small potatoes who were sleeping together. After a moment of meditation, he slowly went to the door, inserted the door, picked up the clothes to change, picked up the chopsticks on the table to clip the food on the table. The taste of the food was so tempting that Yunwu's stomach began to coo, which made her blush. Fortunately, there was no one else in the room. But what if it's toxic? Yunwu frowned and thought about it. Looking at the dish he picked up, he hesitated to move his mouth. He pondered for a moment, then suddenly sighed with a smile. If he wanted to kill himself, he would have done it already. Why wait until now? Think so, Rai Smiley. Look at this place. Almost everyone's realm is unfathomable. Who can't kill now powerless woman? So he vomited and took a big bite with chopsticks. Now the best way is to save your strength quickly and put everything in front of you down. He turned his head and looked at the two children nearby. Finally, he felt that his whole body was relaxed. A heart hanging for so long, finally put down. The cabin is quiet and comfortable. The clouds are dancing and eating quietly. But Yunwu didn't know that it had already caused a huge sensation outside. Lord! The whole sect is in chaos. Lord, our abundant light energy suddenly disappeared. What's the matter? Lord, what is it? The whole hot spring is surrounded by light. Yuzigi stood there quietly, with his hands on his back and his mouth turned up. Several other factions, too, suddenly began to stir. The light from the sky startled all sides. Everyone seems to know the Son of Light was born. In another space, Night suddenly opened his eyes full of surprise, hurried to sit up. The Son of Light energy, almost delivered to every corner. Night suddenly clenched his fists, biting his teeth. So long plan. Finally let the Son of Light was born. Resentment in the heart. Let Night eyes instantly red, but he is cold smile. The light in the eyes is more persistent. Son of darkness, he must get it. In the hot spring cave, Yunwoo, as always, holds her little son in the hot spring. It's been several days since he was born, but the youngest son still looks weak. The strong bright smell in the hot spring keeps drilling into his body. It's such a small body, but it absorbs more power than everyone here. Yunwoo has no choice but to let him. Well. Wake up. The little son slowly opened his eyes, issued a murmur, and then skillfully stretched out his hand to grab Yunwoo's chest, mouth long, twice. Yunwoo was awakened by the villain in her arms. A pair of sleepy eyes looked at the little son, who woke up and began to look for food. A helpless smile rose from the corner of her mouth. You are so greedy. Why don't you see your sister like you? In spite of this, Yunwoo didn't dare to delay at all. She quickly raised her clothes and fed her little son for fear that she would be hungry after a while. The child was weak from birth, and even more careless after birth. Although Yugishin's mind was also on the child, it was because of this that Yunwoo became more nervous. Little son Gugu, holding Cloud Dance to eat, small appearance, does not understand his mother's mind, only know that he is hungry to eat. Bright breath will be two people just wrapped in. Cloud Dance, satisfied looking at the arms of the child, gently sighed. Well. The youngest son soon finished sucking one side of the milk. He didn't feel satisfied with eating a lot. He scratched and pulled everywhere with small hands and feet. He kept saying a lot of words in his mouth. He was not happy. All right, stop it. I'll continue to feed you. Yunwoo coaxed the baby in her arms, but the action on her hand was not slow. She quickly changed the direction of her little son and continued to feed him. Da-da. Little fat girl curiously looked at Yunwoo's younger brother. A pair of big watery eyes flickering. There is no meaning of food. But the saliva at the corner of her mouth betrayed her. After staring at her for a long time, she finally couldn't help reaching out and pinching her brother's cheek. Nyo, don't make trouble. Are you hungry too? Cloud Dance quickly grabbed the little fat girl's hand and asked. The little fat girl just now also well. Here this words immediately seemed to have been wronged, like flatmouth, said, hungry. Today's little fat girl has learned some simple words. When she says hungry, in her soft voice, she is very cute. It seems that her heart is melting. Yunwoo looks at her little son, who is eating with relish in her arms, and then looks up at the cute little fat girl. For a moment, she doesn't know who should eat first. Why are you both hungry at the same time? Cloud Dance said with a sad face, like the mother of an ordinary family. Fortunately, the youngest son in his arms finally had enough to eat at this time. He hit his mouth with satisfaction and gave a belch. By the way, he looked up at the fat girl and rolled his eyes. He seemed to disdain her for being cute, so he continued to stay in Cloud Dance's arms and planned to sleep again. The little fat girl widened her eyes and instantly put away her pitiful expression, as if she was dissatisfied with the younger brother. She reached out and tried to pinch him, but she was stopped by Yunwoo and held him in the other side of her arms to start feeding. The little fat girl gave a cold hum and began to eat. It's hard. Cloud Dance stretched out his hand and two babies' face pinch, helplessly said a word. Just as the three of them were enjoying such a warm moment, the guard at the entrance of the cave heard a notice. Newspaper. The Lord came to see his wife. Cloud Dance's eyes flashed and immediately said, let him wait. The Son of Light is eating. The voice at the door seemed to be hesitant for a moment, and then said, yes. The footsteps of the entrance of the cave sounded, and then Cloud Dance felt a familiar breath stopped at the entrance of the cave. It was Yuzigi, the leader of Yugishin. Cloud Dance imperceptibly frowned. His face flashed a touch of obvious displeasure, but just hid down, quietly waiting for the fat girl in his arms to eat. At the entrance of the cave, Yuzigi stood quietly at the door, without the slightest anxiety. The guards at the entrance of the cave looked at each other, and finally they couldn't help but open their mouth. Lord, why don't you urge your subordinates again? How can you let the Lord wait outside like this? Unexpectedly, before the man's words were finished, Yuzigi raised his hand to indicate that he didn't need to say more, and then his voice came faintly. It's okay. The Son of Light eats more than an average baby, and it's right to wait a little longer. The guards looked at each other, But they also knew that it was useless to persuade them. As long as the things decided by their patriarch were basically difficult to change, they had to go back to their own position and say nothing more. Little by little, the little fat girl in the cave finally had enough to eat. She touched her belly with satisfaction and belched. Then she left the embrace of Cloud Dance and went to the edge of the hot spring to play. Yunwu slowly arranged his clothes, then said to the outside, "Let the Lord wait for a long time, please come in." As soon as the voice fell, the footsteps at the entrance of the cave sounded again, and came in steadily, until it was only 2 zhang away from the hot spring. "Madam." Jade Sun returned light of spit out 2 words. "The tone isn't up gallant, but again take a little respect." First he said hello to Yunwu, and then he put his eyes on the Son of Light. The body of the Son of Light has been recovering day by day. I think he won't have to stay in the hot spring in the near future. Yuzigi suddenly said, "The meaning of the words is very obvious, but Yunwu pretends not to understand." At the moment, Yunwu sneered and said, "Is the Lord going to drive us out of the holy spring?" Yuzigui's brow wrinkled. "Madam, I mean." "What do you mean?" The Cloud Dance's sternly way. "On the one hand, don't allow me to leave here, on the other hand, let us leave holy spring? Treat me politely while thinking about my daughter's life. Is this your style of Yuguishan?" Yuzigi lightly listened to the words of Cloud Dance and spit out a few words. "The problem of principle. I protect you, but I have to get rid of your daughter." "Principles?" Cloud Dance sneer away. "Just be self-righteous, take for granted, let's take as an excuse." Yuzigi's vision swept over several figures in the cave. Seeing that everything was as usual, he directly ignored Yunwu's words and turned to leave. Before leaving, he did not forget to leave. "Madam, have a good rest. I think the young master will be strong soon." Then he went straight out. Yunwu was so angry that he wanted to kill him directly. What's the difference between treating himself like this and the original knight? One wants to kill his son, the other wants to kill his daughter. Dada. Little fat girl seems to know something, climbed to Yunwu's side, opened a pair of big eyes, pitifully stretched out her hand and pulled Yunwu's arm. Yunwu took a deep breath, turned his head and looked at the little fat girl who had been hiding behind him, with a bitter smile on his face. "It's okay, I'll take you out." Dada. Little fat girl cleverly showed a smile, but the smile in the eyes of Yunwu made her sad. "Little potato, can you help us hide our breath?" Cloud Dance turns to small potato to ask away. She has hidden beads and chaos palace, but her strength is too weak. No matter how many magic weapons she has, she can't escape in front of these experts, so she can only rely on little potatoes. Gabble. Small potato mouth said don't understand words, toward Cloud Dance nodded. "Well, we'll do it tonight." Cloud Dance said seriously. "Today, Yuzigi has just been here, and nothing abnormal has been found. Therefore, tonight must be safer than in the past. The longer the time goes, the more uncertain it will be." Although they couldn't escape Yuzigi's exploration, Yunwu really didn't pay attention to the guards close to the entrance of the cave. Time a little bit of the past. Finally, the night came quietly. 2 hours ago, a new group of bodyguards changed outside the door. Yunwu quietly wakes up Tudo. Little potato nodded clearly, then flew directly. A light white light appeared from his forehead. Just for a moment, they fell on the forehead of Yunwu, little Pongyo and young master. They were wrapped in an invisible border, which not only hid their breath, but also their body shadow. "Go," Cloud Dance said, and then picked up the young master, while let the fat girl lie on his back. Small potato quickly flew to the top of the 3 people's head. Will 3 people directly wear belt fly up? The figure was covered by the border, and the strength of the outside Yuguishan disciples was not high, so they could not see them at all, so they flew out directly. The young master is always sleeping. After he left the hot spring, his absorption of light is much slower. Cloud Dance specially observed for a while, and felt that there was nothing different, so she was relieved. But little fat girl didn't know whether she knew the reason for what was happening now, and she didn't cry. In this way, Yunwu only feels that it saves a lot of trouble. "Little potato, can you get out of here? Can you leave the fairyland?" Yunwu asked. "Gee." Small potato answer, although still do not understand the words. but for a long time to get along with Cloud Dance has understood some, so a listen will frown. Little potato means that it's okay to leave the border. It's a big deal to break through the border just like last time, but it's difficult to leave the fairyland. Well, as long as you can get out of here, you can always find a way home. Cloud Dance appraisal said. Gigi. Little potato cheerfully called twice faster. Silent in the middle of the night. A line of 3 people and a beast quickly toward the last small potato break through the border of the place. I didn't expect the Jade Mountain to be so big. The cloud dances to fly in the sky, looking at the building that continuously retreats below. Can't help but praise away. Originally, she thought that Yuguishan was just an ordinary school, occupying a mountain, but now it seems that it is a whole city. Just as she has been flying in the air for a while, she has seen many buildings. From the eye-catching signs, Yunwu can vaguely distinguish all kinds of places. Even she has seen the signs of the auction house. Gigi. Small potatoes happily should be with, for their own choice of a good place and proud. Finally, after another flight, the speed of little potato suddenly stopped. Well, here we are? Yunwu asked suspiciously. Looking around, he found that he was in a small forest, empty. Yunwu carefully listened to the movement around, but felt that there was a patrol in action not far away. Gigi goo goo. Little potato was flying up and down anxiously, as if he had encountered something troublesome. Cloud Dance along. You mean they not only mended the border you destroyed before, but also strengthened the defense? Gigi. Got a small potato positive answer. Cloud Dance can't help but frown. How did not expect to escape after he would encounter such a situation? Is there no way to break through the border? Cloud Dance does not give up of ask away. Gigi goo goo. Little potato means no. Now the power of the border is much stronger than before. Even if we can break through it, I'm afraid that if we move, the Lord of Yuguishan will come directly. At that time, we will have to be arrested. This time, I'm afraid I'll face more than house arrest. Cloud Dance sighed said. Go to other places to see. As long as it is the border, there must be weak places. Yuguishan is so big, I don't believe they can defend everywhere. G small potato immediately should weigh. And don't worry, let Cloud Dance 3 people alone here, so simply will 3 people up, together to find the border weak place. Small potato is very careful to find. Every place is not let go. With the poor and strange people's strong sense of energy, the whole border will turn around. However, they found that all weak places were guarded, and they would not be found if they flew in front of those guards. But if they dared to do anything to the border, they would be found immediately. Gigi goo goo. Little potato flew around again, but finally he couldn't find it. So he had to find a secret place and put Yunwu 3 down. He was dejected and stayed aside, looking rather depressed. In the silent night, 3 people and 1 beast sit together helplessly. The young master doesn't know when he wakes up. He is staring at the little fat girl, and doesn't understand the distress in Yunwu's heart. If they can't get out of the border, they may encounter the search of Yuguishan at any time. At dawn, the people at the entrance of the cave will find that they have escaped. If they can't leave tonight, they are afraid that the whole city will issue a wanted notice tomorrow. The most terrible thing is that the patriarch and elders of Yuguishan are so powerful that they can easily find themselves. Forget it. After a long silence, Yunwu finally made a decision. Since we can't get out, we should stay for the time being. Instead of staying here all the time and waiting for them to find us, we'd better find a safer place to camouflage first, and then try to find a way. I don't believe it. Is it difficult for the Jade to return to the mountain? And it's not necessary to communicate with other countries? Yunwu's words made his little potato feel energetic again, and he kept shouting. Yunwu quickly should dash for fear that he might be excited and attract patrolmen. Little potato, can you hide the dark smell of little fat girl? Cloud Dance pointed to the side of the little fat girl. To the little potato asked. Gigi. Little potato quickly replied, and then flew directly to little fat girl. After 2 laps, he fell directly on little fat girl. The light came out from her, and finally covered little fat girl. In the end, the figure of little potato disappeared completely. At that moment, the dark atmosphere of little fat girl disappeared completely. It looks like an ordinary little girl. Well done. Cloud Dance exclaimed and looked at the young master in his arms. Although he is the son of light, but since he was born, because of two weak reasons, his bright breath is not very strong. Yuguishan has such a strong atmosphere of light. There must be a lot of people who have the attribute of light on them. Cloud Dance thought, looking at the arms of the young master, think is not so outstanding. This conclusion can be seen from the disciples of Yuguishan. Every disciple she has seen so far will have a bright smell. So Yunwu took out a few ordinary clothes from his ring, and changed them all. After all this, I was left alone. People in the fairyland are different from those in the human world. Many people here will bring some energy even if they don't practice. But when Yunwu doesn't practice, they don't have it. So the problem now is that she needs to disguise herself as a real fairyland person. As the sun rose, the sky turned white. After sitting cross-legged in the forest for a long time, Yunwu finally found a balance point to stimulate the power of the witches in her body and make her look like she always has a bright smell. In this way, she finally looks similar to those people in the fairyland. Everything is ready. After dawn, Yunwu is carrying the young master and leading the little fat girl to the crowded place in the city. The next morning, at the holy spring of Yuguishan, Yuzigi calmly looked at the empty holy spring, even with the breath of the three people. Behind him, the Yuguishan disciple who went to inform himself was very careful. Pass on my orders, search the whole city, and make sure to get them back. Yes, the bodyguard behind him receives the order and immediately prepares to leave. As soon as the clinker moves, Yuzigi stops him. Wait, does the Lord still have orders? The bodyguard asked. Yuzigi's eyes flashed. I don't know how I thought of the appearance that Yunwu would protect the son of darkness that day. After a moment's silence, she said, stay alive and let them come back safely. The guard was stunned and asked, where is the son of darkness? Yuzi pursed her lips and said, there is no amnesty for killing. The boundary of Yugue Mountain is very large, because there is a large natural hunting ground outside the city for the hunters in the city to hunt. The location of the boundary is included with that hunting ground. Cloud Dance 3 people originally avoid position in that hunting ground. Take advantage of the dawn to walk toward the city gate. Little fat girl cleverly lies on Yunwu's body. She looks only a few months old, but she is very sensible. She doesn't say a word from the beginning to the end. She looks at the surrounding environment with big eyes, and stares at the young master in Yunwu's arms from time to time. Because of the fear that Yuguishan people would find the trace, Yunwu didn't even dare to fly. He could only carefully observe the surrounding environment while walking forward. Finally, when the sun was on the top of the pole, he arrived at the gate of the city. You. Stop! The voice of the guard suddenly rang out. Yunwu was surprised, and his body flashed quickly. He immediately went to hide behind a big stone. After confirming that no one found himself, he stretched out his head to look at it. At the gate, besides the guard standing on both sides of the gate, there was another one who was obviously stronger. He was checking the people who entered the city one by one. The person who had just been stopped by the guard was looking at the coming guard with a confused face. Who are you? Do you know you have to hand in a pass to enter the city now? The guard went up to the man and looked up and down. Pass. That person is obviously One Lung. Ah, is this? Then he took out a wooden card from his pocket. The guard took it and looked at it carefully. He was sure that it was the real one. Then he returned the card. All right, go in. The man put away the wooden card and saw that the guards were going to check other people. Ah, officer, what are you doing? I haven't heard that the investigation is so strict before. The man asked curiously. Why do you ask so many questions? The guard was on the alert for a moment, and his hand on his side immediately grasped the knife beside him. Don't. The man waved his hand and said, it's not the first time I've been to the city. I'm the one who comes to do business. I come here once a month, but I used to be bodyguard Zhang here. That's why you see me. The guard looked him up and down and said, why do you ask so many questions? The man could not help but frown and look worried. I'm not worried. You say I've been doing business for so many years, and I've never seen you Guishan so strict. I wonder what measures I'm going to take to deal with the outside world. If so, will it increase taxes and tolls? We are all family members of Yuguishan's disciples. At that time, don't worry, don't worry. The guard didn't want to listen to the man, so he just waved his hand and said, this is only a special period. There's an order from the superior. If you want to catch someone, it's so strict. When people catch it, it will be the same as before. So it is. That's good. That's good. The man said with a lingering fear. And now, I'm looking for faces. Today, bodyguard Zhang was sent to take care of Jiejia. That's why he changed me. Don't worry, the faces of ordinary acquaintances are okay. The guard said. But remember to take the pass with you. Don't worry. I'm sure I have. Come on in. Don't delay us. The guard waved and the man finally left the gate. The conversation between the two fell in Yunwu's ears. Until the man left for a long time. Yunwu was still hiding behind the stone, his brow locked. Well. The young master in his arms wakes up after a sleep, and just sends out a syllable. Yunwu makes a silent gesture. Shudash. The young master cleverly closed his mouth and looked up at the little fat girl lying on the shoulder of Yunwu. At this time he was learning the way of Yunwu just now. Holding a finger on the edge, the young master could not help but tilt his head and really didn't say a word. Cloud Dance frowned and looked at the guards who were strict in front of him. He didn't let go of any of them. No matter who had to have a pass to get in, if he met a new face he would have to check again. It's really strict. Cloud Dance sighed and said, originally, I thought that I could just pretend to be a person in the fairyland, but I didn't expect that there were so many rules for you Guishan. And the way these guards check just reminds her of one thing. It's very strict for Yuguishan to enter and leave. From the conversation just now, it's not difficult to infer that most of the people here are Yuguishan's disciples and their families. They have lived here for generations. If they appear rashly, even if they escape the examination of the guards, how can they make others not find that they are strangers? A woman who came to Yuguishan alone, with 2 children, thought it was too similar to the picture on the wall. Gigi Goo Goo. Hiding in the little fat girl, the little potato chirped a word, as if to remind the Cloud Dance what General Yunwu's eyes are bright, right? Since you can't let yourself leave this strange face, just let everyone can't see you. But I have hidden pearls on my body. Thinking about this, Yunwu immediately took out the hidden bead from the portable space and urged it to move. As soon as the hidden bead was used, not only the shadow of Cloud Dance disappeared, but also the little fat girl on her body and the young master in her arms. Cloud Dance hearted joy. Big Square from behind the stone came out. Even so, but still did not walk past all of a sudden, but a little bit close to the gate. There are bodyguards beside the wall with their own portraits. They seriously check everyone. Even some people are called by them before they get close to the gate. All the people line up and walk towards the city. Yunwu walked out from one side and carefully entered the guards. However, with the distance getting closer and closer, the guards seemed to have not seen Yunwu at all. If they were other people, they would have been ordered to stand in the team by the guards. Until then, Yunwu finally felt relieved. The young master and little fat girl in their arms didn't make any sound, so they let Yunwu take them into the city. Stop. Who are you? What a strange face. Just as Yunwu stepped into the city, the bodyguard behind him suddenly gave a cold drink. Yunwu's steps stopped in an instant, and almost immediately she wanted to take out Guwu's sword, but then she heard another voice. I'm from Badeo Villa. The man's voice sounded behind him. Cloud Dance turns ahead to see one eye. See, just now the bodyguard that talk is with other bodyguards together encircle a man to examine carefully. Cloud Dance heart a loose, hastened to speed up into the city. In the city, people come and go. Yunwu stands on the street, and no one can see her. The cries of vendors and the greetings of acquaintances are like a paradise. Yunwu didn't expect that the huge Yugue mountain would look so harmonious. Even after entering the city, there was a map of the whole Yugue mountain on the roadside. Cloud Dance walked past for the first time and looked carefully. This jade mountain is so big. Cloud Dance exclaimed, although originally no quite big, but did not expect more comprehensive than their own imagination. Throughout the city, mercenaries, auction houses, residential areas, markets, everything. On this sign, there are also the living rules of the immigrants in Wuxia, which indicates in detail that the residents of Wuxia are only disciples and their families, and other immigrants are not allowed to live for more than a month, let alone have houses in the city. In this way, isn't it easier to be recognized as a stranger? Cloud Dance frowned and said. Just thinking about how to do it, I suddenly caught a glimpse of a corner on the brand, right next to the market. Although there was no sign, Yunwu intuitively told herself that there must be a black market. Only this kind of place is the most suitable for the black door to stay. With this in mind, Yunwu went to the black market without hesitation. Standing in the middle of the black market, watching the people coming and going in front of me, holding 2 children, I suddenly felt confused. It's really a black market. It's a mixture of good and bad. Cloud Dance exclaimed. It was surrounded by peddlers and tramps sitting around the corner with their hands on. But Yunwu can't find a place to live, even if she can find a place to put her children down and let them have a good rest. He sighed dejectedly and walked slowly on the black market, but he didn't know where to go next. Hidden Pearl. Suddenly, a voice appeared behind Yunwu, with indifference and laziness, but the 3 words he said made Yunwu's heart thump. Who? Yunwu felt nervous and turned to look behind him. He saw a slovenly man with stubble on his face, dirty and shabby all over, like a man who had just climbed out of the garbage heap. And he looked at the face of indifference, eyes on the body of Cloud, still no expression. If he is not the only one looking at himself, Yunwu really thinks that he is looking for the wrong person. Cloud Dance suddenly felt a sense of crisis. This man is good or evil? Who are you? Cloud Dance frowned and began to speak. Who would have thought that the man actually only raised his eyelids, lazily looked at Yunwu but did not say a word. How do you know the hidden pearl? Cloud Dance frowned, indicating that she was very confused. A slovenly, bearded and seemingly ordinary man sees through himself hidden in the hidden pearl, and the cloud dancing heart suddenly sets off a storm. The man still did not pay attention to the cloud dance. Eyebrow fine-tuning looked at the cloud dance, and then turned back. Cloud Dance quickly catch up. Hey, where are you going? But the man was still expressionless, and even didn't care to look at her. Yunwu kept calling after him, but followed him to a room beside the alley. Where is this? Yunwu seems to be used to his silence, but he still asks. It was a long abandoned mansion. In front of the house was overgrown with weeds. Even several pieces of marble at the door had been dug away. On that mansion, a signboard which could not read clearly was hanging obliquely. Yunwu stood outside the house, looking at the door which was not closed. Can I come in? Yunwu asked. At present, there are unfamiliar places everywhere, and I don't have a place to settle down. It's not easy to meet a person who can see that he used hidden beads but didn't say anything. He shouldn't leave easily. It's just that this person doesn't pay any attention to her. Cloud Dance is very helpless, since the man did not answer. Simply she directly sat on the floor outside the door, the 2 children in his arms. Da-da. All the way has not opened. The mouth of the little fat girl suddenly opened. A pair of big eyes pitifully looking at the cloud, like hungry. Alas! Cloud Dance helplessly shook his head. This day and night she did not eat. Where the milk? Behind the willing, the man did not seem to see her in general. Cloud Dance considered for a while, and finally asked, Do you have a house to borrow from me? The man still did not answer, doing what he was doing. Yunwu wanted to ask again. Suddenly, there was a lot of noise outside the alley. Yunwu's face changed, and she stood up. Her whole body was covered with fighting spirit, but she forced her down. Da-da. Shadash, she hid quietly at the door and looked at the entrance of the lane. She only heard the voice of the search team coming from the entrance of the lane. It sounded like a large number of people. Yunwu is a little anxious. He looks around in a hurry and looks for it. But suddenly he sees the room where the man just went in. The door is hidden. It seems that he is telling her that she can come in here. Eyes a turn, the corner of the mouth of Cloud Dance starts to put on a light smile. She swerved into the house and closed the door. Excuse me. As soon as they entered the room, the search team had arrived, and countless people's footsteps and noise were hovering outside the door. Here, you two, go and have a look here. Look over there too. In a hurry, the footsteps scattered at the door of the house. Cloud danced he at the door through the gap, looking at the people outside, only to see that group of people gradually scattered in the door. When the danger was relieved for a while, Yunwoo let out a long breath, and then let go. It's finally dispersed. Yunwoo turns to see the house, which is very dilapidated. The land inside was overgrown with weeds, and the mansion was covered with dust. There was nothing inside, except a pile of useless garbage. Everything was covered with a thick layer of dust. The only thing that can enter the eye is the stool that the man is sitting on. Where the hell is this? Do you live here all the time? Yunwoo asked. After the man found that he was hiding under the hidden bead, Yunwoo felt uneasy, because she didn't know where it was, and whether the people here had reached a certain level. She could see the existence of the hidden bead. Hidden pearl, will it be ineffective? Cloud Dance frowned and thought. After thinking for a long time, although the man can see the hidden bead, in order to protect himself, Yunwoo still does not remove the hidden bead, because the hidden bead will eventually cause some interference to people's vision. More security or more security. Her whole person has been in a defensive state, looking at the man sitting on the chair. Her heart is still uneasy, and do not know the identity of people living in a room, but the door is in danger. There is no kind of situation than Yunwoo now more embarrassed. But whoever thought that since Yunwoo came into this room, the man didn't look her in the eye. First he sat on the chair, then he ate the food he picked up from outside, and then he lay on the ground next to him, with his legs up and his eyes closed. Hello, can you say a word? Yunwoo asked tentatively again. This man is really strange. His voice reverberates in the empty room. However, the man still ignored him. Yunwoo felt that he was making trouble of himself, and he didn't take care of him anymore because he didn't drive him away. He wandered around the abandoned mansion, walked 2 rooms, and finally found a relatively safe place. I went in with my 2 children, and found a place to sit down everywhere. I reluctantly nursed the children and took care of them to sleep. Seeing that the 2 children had gone to sleep safely, Yunwoo was relieved at last. Turning around, she saw that the man seemed to be asleep, lying on his side and motionless, so she closed her eyes. Sit with your knees crossed, look inside your body, and begin to practice and regulate your breath. The voice of the search team outside the door still came and went, but I don't know why the people of the search team didn't enter the house, which made Yunwoo feel quite relieved. Finally, after the search team had been making a lot of noise outside for a long time, everyone had to concentrate outside the alley. No boss. Boss, I don't have one either. There was a pause outside the door, and then the whole search team had left. Cloud Dance vomited breath. Feel his heart almost jumped out. He looked at the 2 sleeping children on the ground. The corners of his mouth showed a maternal smile. Well, you should go. Suddenly there has been a silent man said a word. Just these 5 words. Cloud Dance can't help but squint. Yunwoo's murderous spirit. But the man didn't seem to feel it at all. He stood up, rubbed his dirty hair, and turned to one of the rooms. Seeing the figure of the man disappearing in the house, you breathed in the clouds. How can she go? She won't leave here when she doesn't find a new house. Although I don't know the origin of this man, Yunwoo saw that the man just said a word, but he didn't mean to do anything more, so he thought for a while, and finally walked over to him and said, I don't have a place to go now. Can I stay with you for a few days? The man didn't seem to hear the words of Yunwoo at all. He didn't mean to go to bed, but now that Yunwoo finished, he found a place to lie down and turned his back to Yunwoo, as if to sleep. Seeing him like this, Yunwoo knew that he didn't want to take care of himself. However, thinking of his 2 children and the present situation, Yunwoo kept silent for a while, and said again, When I find another place, I will never forget the kindness of the chivalrous today. Yunwoo stood by the door and waited for a long time, but still didn't see the man's intention to open his mouth. He couldn't help frowning and didn't ask any more questions. He just left a light nagging. Then he turned around and went out with his 2 children in his arms and began to look for a room to live in. When Yunwoo left the door, The man turned his back to her closed eyes and finally opened them. A pair of deep black eyes flickered with inexplicable meaning. Then he changed his sleeping posture and murmured, "Everyone has his life," which made him fall asleep completely. And now the other side. Who? A fierce wind blows the curtains around Long Qingxia and raises his hair. There were two maids standing by the big bed, standing quietly by the bed. Breathing quietly, the sunlight outside the window projects into the room. And the whole project is on the body of Long Qingxia. Everything here is full of dark energy. Long Qingxia constantly absorbs energy, and the breath in the body gradually becomes strong. Finally, Long Qingxia opened his eyes and suddenly sent out a burst of intense dark energy. "Are you awake, my lord?" The maid beside suddenly exclaimed and turned to look at the dragon. "Well," Long Qingxia whispered. His eyes were full of confusion. He didn't seem to know where he was. Generally, he was just a habitual response to the maid's words. "Great. I'm going to tell the elders." The maid looked so surprised that she turned and ran out. It was only after the maid had left for a long time that the confusion in Long Qingxia's eyes gradually disappeared. "My lord?" Long Qingxia narrowed his eyes and gave a sneer. These people are polite to themselves, and they even call themselves adults. If not, I would have been confused by them. Long Qingxia turned to look out of the window. The sun was burning outside. However, Long Qingxia clearly felt that the dark energy had not decreased. This place was not as simple as he thought. Not long after that, the maid who ran out just now came back with a group of people behind her. Long Qingxia sat on the bed, closed his eyes and ignored. It seems that he is still very weak, but in fact it is because he is too lazy to deal with these people. When did he wake up? A man's voice came, obviously asking the people around him. "Elder Hui, in less than a cup of tea, I went to inform you as soon as you woke up." It was the voice of the maid just now, and the tone was full of respect. "That's good," the elder said, but he was in a hurry. The party immediately entered the room. "Shu dash," the elder made a silent gesture, and the people behind him immediately stopped. Looking at the dragon on the bed, the elder was pleasantly surprised and quickly went forward. "Are you awake now, my lord? I've seen you concentrate on your cultivation these days, so I didn't come to disturb you. Our patriarch is very concerned about your situation and says that if you wake up, you must let me invite you to come over at the first time." Long Qingxia raised his eyes slightly. The corner of his eyes was slightly lazy, and he was still so evil. He immediately made the elder smile awkwardly, scratched his head and said respectfully, "Well, you might as well clean up, and then follow me to see our lord." "Lord?" Dragon Qing evil mouth asks away. There is light confusion in eyes, seem to want to suppress intentionally but inadvertently leak out general. As soon as the elder saw him like this, he had no doubt at all, so he quickly said, "Yes, sir, have you forgotten?" Long Qingxia squinted. "Why don't I know what patriarch?" The elder laughed. "You are really joking." Long Qingxia hooked the corner of his mouth and said with a sneer, "What character is your patriarch?" This words, Dragon Qing evil whole body's prestige release instantly, although the strength is not very strong, but it has a kind of superior pressure. He doesn't look like a man with amnesia at all. The elder's heart clattered and thought, is it difficult that he has not lost his memory? Where does this look like a person in a strange environment? Well, I don't know if you think of anything now. The elder asked carefully and tentatively. What do you say? Long Qingxia asked, with a sneer on the corner of his mouth, which made people confused. The elder felt more uneasy. How could the dragon be different from what he expected? The elder only felt that he had a look on his body. He always looked at himself as if he wanted to see something from himself. After a long time, the elder even felt that he knew what he had done to him. After thinking for a long time, the elder only felt that the sweat on his forehead was going to seep out. Finally he hardened his head and raised his head to look at the dragon. At the moment of looking at each other, the elder suddenly saw a trace of confusion in Long Qingxia's eyes, and a look at the surrounding environment and the people he brought. Just for a moment, he was suppressed by the dragon's evil, and his eyes seemed to have never appeared before. Elder Alung, immediately in the heart of joy. Originally he is pretending. Because of the fear that people around him have a threat, so deliberately pretend not to lose memory. In this way, the elder was not nervous. Instead, he was smiling at the dragon and said, "My lord, it seems that you really don't remember." Elder, satisfied with a smile, turned to the side of the humanitarian. "You quickly to clean up for adults to see the lord." Several maidservants nodded quickly and went forward. "Sir, we are here to serve you," said the ladies respectfully. Long Qingxia's eyes swept back and forth on all the people, and finally closed his eyes. With a faint it was a default. Half an hour later, several maids finally came out of the house with dragon's evil spirits. They followed the elder and went to the place where the patriarch was. Long Qingxia then gradually saw the appearance of this sect clearly. The whole sect was wrapped by dark energy. These dark energy was quite pure, like mist around. Many disciples of the sect were sitting in the square practicing, with their eyes closed, and the black energy was boiling like water. And he also found that most of the people here are unfathomable. Are the people here so strong? Long Qingxia frowned and thought in his heart. He is already the strength of Wuling, and no one can surpass him in the human world. But here, Wuling is so powerful that he can't see through the strength of many people. Long Qingxia was shocked in his heart, but he didn't make a sound on his face. He really looked like an adult. He was led all the way to the main hall. The towering mountains are full of lush trees, and the stairs spiral up all the way, which is majestic and sacred. "My lord, I know you may have a lot of questions, but it's okay. You should know that you are our adult, and we will take care of you. When you see the patriarch later, ask him if you have any questions," the elder said respectfully. From pretending to lose his memory, the elder's attitude towards him suddenly became very respectful. Long Qingxia couldn't help thinking, is it because of some extraordinary plan that these people arrested themselves? In front of him, a man came down the stairs and said something in the elder's ear. As soon as the elder's eyes brightened, he hurried to Long Qingxia's side and said respectfully, "Your lord, the lord is waiting. Please speed up." Soon, the party had come to the main hall above the steps. In the main hall stood a group of sect disciples, all dressed in white. However, the white clothes were totally different from the black smell they sent out. Long Qingxia pursed his mouth, bowed his head and did not speak. He just followed the elder all the way into the main hall. But unexpectedly, the patriarch was not in the main hall, and the elder still guided him all the way through the main hall, and all the way to the back of the main hall. But I found that behind the main hall, there was a huge platform. On the platform, a handsome young man, dressed like snow in white, sat there, on a simple wooden table, on which the water in the teacup was steaming. "Sit down, please." The patriarch turned to see the dragon and said with a smile, "Things are busy in the sect, so I can't see you often. But I always pay attention to your situation. After such a long time you finally wake up. What about? How are you feeling?" Long Qing's evil heart. "How about my body? Are you responsible for it? It's funny to look like that." But on the face it was quiet, just Light said 2 words. "Okay." The patriarch said with a faint smile, "Don't hide in front of me. I know you have lost your memory. Just ask me what you want to ask." As soon as the voice fell, the dragon's evil body suddenly burst out a strong dark breath, just like an agile leopard. It may attack at any time. "My lord!" Below, a crowd of elders exclaimed, as if they were afraid that the dragon would collide with the patriarch. Clinker, but the lord raised his hand, said, "No harm." Then he turned to look at the dragon and said, "Don't worry, I won't harm you. We are all family. I just want to answer your questions." Long Qingxia and the patriarch looked at each other, and they did not give in to each other. After a long time, Long Qingxia seemed to confirm that he had no threat to himself. Then he put away his momentum and asked coldly, "Where is this place?" "Oh, don't you even remember your own home?" With a smile, the patriarch took a cup of tea and turned to the other side of the platform. This platform is built in the air. Under the platform is the abyss, and in front of it is a heavy mountain, surrounded by clouds, floating among the mountains. "Your own home?" Long Qingxia pretends to be puzzled and asks. His sight sweeps around. Finally, he looks at the patriarch with a puzzled face. I don't think so. The patriarch shook his head helplessly. Sue said with a smile. Well, well. If you can't remember, you can't. You were exiled until you lost your memory. Not long ago, we accidentally rescued someone who was seriously injured, so we quickly brought you back for treatment. Seriously injured? That's right. The patriarch said. You are seriously injured. We have used many methods, but we still can't keep your memory. But it doesn't matter. Anyway, you've gone home, and you can catch up with the sections. Long Qingxia's brow was wrinkled, and he had no impression of what the Lord said. What do you want me to do? Long Qingxia said. Yes. The patriarch said. Originally you are a member of the sect. It's natural for you to do something. But after all, you have been exiled for a long time. I'm afraid you've been used to things outside. There are some problems with the sect. We need everyone to help the sect, but it's purely voluntary. If you want to come back, you will restore all your previous identities. If you don't want to, it doesn't matter. We can put you down now. This is really a good choice, but I don't know where I am at this time. If I leave here now and can't find the cloud dance, this place is full of powerful opponents. If I don't pay attention, I may lose my life. Come on, have tea. The patriarch said that he would pour some cool tea out of the tea bowl, replace it with a new one, and push it to the front of Long Qingxia. Long Qingxia could not help but frown and look at the tea. He pondered for a moment and poured it down. Sure enough, Long Qingxia sneered in his heart. Although he knew what was added to the tea, he wanted to see what these people were up to. In front of the scene are blurred, with the appearance of the patriarch, and finally, a dark. The patriarch looked at Long Qingxia lying on the table, bowed his head and said with a smile, Come on, lift him to the underground array. The two men came forward, carried the dragon and left the platform. The elder quickly came forward. Lord, how is this man? The patriarch nodded with satisfaction, and a faint smile rose from the corner of his mouth. Yes, I think it's time for us to start our plan. The white light shows that the Son of Light has come into the world. It's too late to start again. The patriarch narrowed his eyes and showed a smile. The dragon, who was carried into the underground array, was placed in the middle of the array, and several people quietly withdrew. In the array, a gurgle of black energy, like a spring, rushes into the dragon's body. The whole body makes a clattering sound, but the dragon seems to have no feeling. The energy is more and more rich, and all of them are poured into the dragon's evil body. Long Qingxia's body suddenly seemed to be caught, and began to twist strangely. At last he began to frown, and the sound of clicking became more intense. There was a sharp groan in his mouth. Then, blood began to come out of his mouth and nose, and he kept twitching, with blood flowing from the corners of his eyes and ears. The black qi all over his body wrapped him tightly. His muscles and veins almost all broke, and the black energy began to reshape him constantly, making his body take on a new look. In this way, day after day, the patriarch and the elder came to see Long Qingxia lying on the ground covered with blood. They were all exclaiming and wondering if this man was going to die. But Long Qingxia didn't stop breathing and didn't wake up. These people had to leave disappointed. In the main hall, Lord, do you think this man can really be used by us? The elder asked, full of worries. But I clearly feel that this person can't survive the pulp washing this time. In case he becomes a useless person in the end, we've all worked in vain. The patriarch sighed, with a gentle and helpless smile on his face. If this pulp washing is successful, then he will become our weapon. If it fails, there will be only one way to die. Just wait patiently. You are too impatient. The elder sighed and stopped talking. I don't know how long it took, but suddenly there was a boom under the ground. Long Qingxia suddenly opened his eyes, and his energy suddenly shattered the stones around him. He sat up and looked down at his body, surprised. What did the man drink for himself? Why suddenly his body is so strong? Suddenly heard someone's footsteps running down from the top, with a voice. The Lord said he woke up this time should be completely for our use. You have to be careful not to be hurt by him. People who have just been washed can't control their energy. Long Qingxia took a deep breath, sat in the middle of the array, and closed his eyes. He's sitting up. A person exclaimed, walked forward, but couldn't help but let out another exclamation. Dragon Qingxia slowly opened his eyes, and those eyes were full of confusion and indifference. The golden eyes were like a pool of golden lake, deep and bottomless. It seems that he really forgot everything before? A man stepped forward and waved hard. But see, Dragon Qing Evil have no reaction at all, just sit quietly. That's great. Go to inform the Lord quickly. No. Behind him, a voice suddenly appeared. They bowed to give way and let the patriarch come down. The patriarch looked at Long Qingxia's confused eyes with satisfaction. Very good, very good. This man really lived up to the expectations. Turning to look behind him, the patriarch pondered for a moment and said, "In this case, I will name him Dark Emperor." At this time, in the whole fairyland, because of the deliberate spread of sects, the setting off of the Sun of Light, and the awakening of the Dark Emperor, all sects began to be vigilant. The appearance of the Dark Emperor, the Lord of Darkness, and the fairyland, where the Sun of Light has just been born, is even more sensational. Everyone is thinking about the relationship between the appearance of the Dark Emperor and the birth of the Sun of Light. And Dark Cloud Palace and Jade Return Mountain, these two places, again in the planning of what extraordinary things? Not long after the birth of the son of Guangming in Yuguishan, the Dark Emperor awakens in the Dark Cloud Palace. Now, I'm afraid the world will be in chaos. I'm afraid the Dark Emperor came for the Sun of Light. You say the Sons of Light are born. Where is the Son of Darkness? Hey, stop it. One Dark Emperor is enough trouble. Another Dark Sun. The whole fairyland people began to talk about it. For a time the two sects, Dark Cloud Palace and Jade Return Mountain, became the chatting after dinner. Dark Cloud Palace. Dragon Qingxia sits in his room and quietly closes his eyes. In this place, the energy in his body is growing very fast. He feels that his body is like boiling water, constantly rolling. The energy in his body is like falling rain returning to the lake, slowly gathering in his body. After a few days of heartbreaking pain, Long Qingxia was pleasantly surprised to find that his body seemed to have become a lot lighter. His whole body seemed to be full of light. The original world in my eyes seems to come to life suddenly. Every tiny thing can be caught by myself. Even if the particles in the morning fog are flying in the air, even if the water drops on the leaves are rolling down from the leaves. This makes him feel happy. Looking inside his body, the meridians are plated with a light light. It seems to be more solid, and the strength has become stronger. Open your eyes and look out of the window. This place is really puzzling. Outside the door, there are still a large number of Dark Cloud Palace disciples who practice hard day and night. He looked inside his body, and there was nothing unusual. He turned his head to see that the maid was standing on one side, motionless. He got up, got out of bed and went out. Standing at the door, the maid bowed respectfully to the dragon, and then continued to stand in the same place. On both sides of the door, the four maids came up and followed behind, but said nothing. Long Qingxia was a little impatient, but when he turned to look behind him, the four people kept a distance of about 4 steps from him. He stopped and so did they. He turned his head and they bowed. What's the order of the Dark Emperor? You don't have to follow me. I'll walk around and get familiar with the environment. Long Qingxia said. The two maids looked at each other, saluted him again and said, Back to the Dark Emperor. The Lord let us not leave you all the time. If the Dark Emperor wants to go shopping, just go shopping. We'll follow the Dark Emperor. We can give orders at any time. Dragon Qing Evil Heart helpless. No, these two people won't agree to his request. Immediately casually waved, had to ignore them, continue to move forward. Long Qingxia is dressed in black and has golden eyes. He has a strong aura. He is followed by two maids standing respectfully behind him. Therefore, wherever he goes, he will attract the attention of the disciples of Dark Cloud Palace. Helplessly raised the hand to knead the eyebrow center. The dragon inclines evil some to feel powerless. What's wrong with the Dark Emperor? The maid behind him asked as soon as she saw him like this. Long Qingxia sighed, turned to the two people behind him and said, I'm going to find the Lord now. Don't follow me. That said, Dragon Qing Evil instant speed up, Behind the maid also want to follow, but he was forced to throw away. Throughout the dark cloud palace, there are numerous buildings. After walking around, the dragon found that most of the buildings were guarded. Strange, I didn't think it was so strict before. Long Qingxie said in doubt. He inquired around and walked towards one of the buildings. I thought that if I was stopped, I would take the patriarch to oppress them, but this time no one stopped me, so I went in smoothly. Well, no one? The dragon Qing evil pick eyebrow, really some surprised. He doesn't know his status in the dark cloud palace, but from the current point of view, at least, they regard themselves as one of them. With a little peace of mind, I went into the building. There are 6 floors in the building. After the gate goes in, there is another door inside. As soon as Dragon Qingxie gets close to the door, 2 bodyguards have respectfully opened the door and are waiting for Dragon Qingxie to go up. I've seen the Dark Emperor. The dragon didn't stop and went straight forward. Just on the 2nd floor, Long Qingxie's eyes were completely attracted by the 2nd floor. It turns out that this building is a library. In the library, there are books all over the wall. I picked up a book and looked at it. It was all some of the best practices in the human world. However, here it was placed casually. Fairyland so strong. There was a deep flash in the dragon's evil eyes. He looked up at the upstairs. There was a door in front of him, which was still guarded by 2 guards, so he continued to walk up. When he was on the 3rd floor, his skill was obviously more advanced. He became more and more interested. He went straight up and didn't stop. He just went up 1 layer at a time. On the 5th floor, the dragon was stopped. Please forgive me. You can't go up the 6th floor. Long Qingxie couldn't help frowning. He just looked at the gate leading to the 6th floor and felt that there was something really hidden on the 6th floor. Why not go in? Dragon Qing evil pretends not to feel of ask away. Lord Hui, it's the Lord's order. Long Qingxie's eyes swept over them, and then he said, okay. Then he turned and walked downstairs. Out of the library, Dragon Qing evil a little bit to identify the discovery, and finally toward the next building. It's still 6 floors, but it seems that the 6 floors are all information from all over the world, important deployment of each place, fortress and so on. But when it comes to the 6th floor, it's still stopped and can't go in. Are all the 6 floors taboo? Long Qingxie shook his head helplessly and said, looking at the serious man standing at the stairway on the 6th floor, he still gave up. I came out silently and saw a thick fog rolling on the whole back mountain. The dark energy also rolled in, and abundant energy came. Long Qingxie is walking around aimlessly. Suddenly, he hears the voice of conversation in the room not far away. With his eyes drooping, he slowly moves to the house in front of him. The Lord asked us to come, but what did he tell us? A clear voice came out. Long Qingxie stood at the door and looked inside through the window. He saw that there was a council hall. The elder and a group of leaders of Dark Cloud Palace were sitting in it, while the patriarch Lianting was sitting in front of everyone, silent. Long Qingxie moved in his heart and got closer, hiding in the dark of the door. You said that the Son of Light was born in Yugui Mountain? Lianting didn't answer the elder's words, but he asked another man below. Yes. One of them respectfully said, we have reliable news that the Son of Light was born in the hot spring of Yuguishan. On that day, a ray of light came down from the sky, and many people saw it. Standing outside the door, Long Qingxie's heart moved. He didn't know why he was excited when he heard the news. He couldn't tell where he was excited. If the Son of Light was born in Yuguishan, it would be a great help to them. The other man's voice was a little heavy. Since ancient times, we have been holding each other's hands. But now that they have a Son of Light, I'm afraid it's not good for us. Yes. It said that if there is light, there will be darkness, but I don't know where the Son of Darkness is. One by one, the voices of discussion came out, and Long Qingxie wanted to hear something more, but suddenly there was a fury in the room. Who is outside? The secret way in Long Qingxie's heart is not good. As soon as he is ready to leave, he suddenly thinks of the strength of the people inside. His heart sinks. Instead of leaving, he comes out in a big way. The door of the chamber was opened, and several people in chief's clothes stood at the door. It's me. Dragon Qing Evil Light said, no taboo. Why are you? One of them, a man in white, raised his eyebrows and asked, who asked you to come here? I walk around, but I come here. Long Qingxia raised his head and looked at the man in front of him with golden eyes, without any waves. No one stopped me. The man couldn't help choking and looked behind him. Sure enough, the gate was open, and the guard stood at the door, frowning and sighing. You go, don't go in and out here casually in the future. Long Qingxia didn't speak and turned to leave. But suddenly he seemed to think of something. He turned his head and asked, what did I hear just now, Son of Light? What is that? Suddenly, the man's face became gloomy, and a surge of energy came out of his body. He looked at the dragon and said in a cold voice, boy, don't listen to what you shouldn't listen to, don't ask what you shouldn't ask, hasn't anyone taught you? What's going on out there? Inside, the voice of Lian Ting came suddenly, which shocked the whole body of the man. He quickly turned around and said, Lord, it's the Dark Emperor. He ran to the meeting hall. Let him in. Lian Ting's voice came out from inside, very clear. The man opened his eyes wide, and was stunned for a long time. He thought he had heard the wrong thing, until Lian Ting's voice came out again. What are you doing? Why don't you come in? Yes, Lord. The man was in a hurry. He turned his head and looked at the dragon. He hummed coldly. You are lucky. Turn around and walk into the room with the dragon. As soon as I entered the room, I saw a group of people sitting in the room, dressed in white, around a table. Lian Ting was sitting in the middle of the room, looking at the dragon with a smile. Here you are, come in. What's the matter? Lian Ting's face is always with a smile like the spring breeze, but Long Qingxia has a sneer in his heart. I came here by accident. Long Qingxia looked at Lian Ting without blinking. His face was still indifferent, and his golden pupils were empty and indifferent. Lian Ting motioned Long Qingxia to sit down, but the elder around him was not happy. Lord, he is not. Well, it's our people now. Lian Ting waved his hand with a smile, interrupted several people's obstruction, and continued to signal Long Qingxia to sit down. Let's go on. Lian Ting said. So I plan to send someone to Yuguishan in the near future. I don't know if you have any good candidates. When Yu returns to the mountain, waves suddenly appear in Long Qingxia's heart. He doesn't know why. Long Qingxia thinks that it may have something to do with the cloud dance. He sits on the seat with his head down and in silence. Lord, we can't lose face when we go to Yuguishan. I think it's better. The elder suddenly spoke. His eyes turned to Long Qingxia, who was sitting on one side, and said, let's let the Dark Emperor go to Yuguishan. On the one hand, we can frighten Yuguishan. On the other hand, we can also let the Dark Emperor know about the situation there. After all, he has just awakened, and many things are not well understood. After hearing this, Lian Ting's eyes were bright. He turned his head and looked at the dragon. On his handsome face he immediately said with a smile, don't say, it's a good idea. The reputation of the Dark Emperor is already out. If we don't make the Dark Emperor public, they will think that we are from nowhere. Everyone around us talked about it, but there were still different voices. But the Lord, the Dark Emperor, has just awakened. I think it is necessary to observe for some time. We don't know his strength and his current situation. There are too many unstable factors. If there are any problems in the middle of the way, I'm afraid it will cause irreparable consequences. Yes. From time to time there are people around. Lian Ting turned his head and looked at the dragon. His eyes were full of spring breeze smile and warm eyes of trust. What do you say, Dark Emperor? Sitting in the crowd, Long Qingxia looked around but frowned. Finally he said faintly, but what is the Son of Light? People around, all silent, no one answers, do not know how to answer. Lian Ting lowered his head, pondered for a moment, and finally said slowly, you go and have a look. Long Qingxia took a deep breath and lowered his head. The whole person was in the dark and uncertain shadow. His golden eyes were light, but no one saw them. Good. Since you agree, that's great. Lian Ting laughed and turned his head to the people around him. Go to write a letter to Yuguishan, saying that we have found the Dark Emperor, and heard that the son of Guangming was born in Yuguishan. I'm here to congratulate you, and I want to send the Dark Emperor to visit. People around him quickly took out pen and ink, wrote it down, nodded repeatedly, and then carefully wrote the letter, put it into the envelope and handed it to the maid beside him. The maid turned and left. Well, that's how it's done. Lianting was smiling and obviously in a good mood. He turned to the dragon and said, "If there's nothing to do today, it's better to have a drink with me." Lianting left the meeting hall with Long Qingxia. Countless people I met along the way bowed to Lianting respectfully, and then continued to practice. In the past few days, Long Qingxia has been sober. What he has seen seems to be the way these people practice martial arts. This sect seems to have nothing to say and nothing else to do except practice martial arts. Although all the people are alive, they seem to be walking dead and numb. Long Qingxia receives God and continues to follow Lianting forward. I remember I promised you to ask any questions, right? Lianting turned around to look at the dragon, with a gentle smile on the corner of his mouth. But it seems that it didn't materialize that day. But today you can ask. If I can say anything, I will tell you. Dragon Qing, evil heart, a belly of doubt. Hear Lianting say so, in the heart immediately a loose. From the place full of dark cloud palace disciples, they walked all the way to the house and stopped after the highest house. As soon as they got up to the top of the mountain, which was shrouded in clouds and fog, they seemed to be flying. They found a place to sit down everywhere. Then a maid came forward and put down warm wine for them, which was fragrant. Sitting in the cloud, Lianting couldn't help but close his eyes and sighed. It's really a beautiful scene. If there is nothing else in my heart, then sitting here is a more perfect thing. What did you give me that day? Long Qingxia holds the wine in his hand and suddenly asks coldly. Lianting is stunned. He turns around and looks at Long Qingxia. Do you mean before you wash the marrow? When the wine in their glasses was full, Lianting laughed. Last time I gave you Tongyuan water, which can help you wash away the turbid qi, but it has a great risk. If it wasn't for your strong will, I'm afraid you wouldn't be sitting here talking to me now. Long Qingxia knew it in his heart, and his whole body trembled involuntarily when he thought of the feeling of suffering in those days. But now, as Lianting said, his whole body felt very relaxed, as if it had been cleaned up. The impurities and turbid qi in his body had been cleaned up, and his bones and meridians were firm and transparent, and the dark energy in his body was flowing. Quantity also appears more pure. Where is Yuguishan? Long Qingxia continues to ask. Even the court sat on the ground, the wind blowing on his face, and even the wind was full of dark energy, which made people's energy boil. Yuguishan is a sect opposite to us. Light and dark are hostile to each other, but they must exist. We suppress each other and influence each other. Long Qingxia nodded and heard the light. His heart moved, and his cloud-dancing face appeared in his mind. And what is this place? Why are you all so strong? And since I am the Dark Emperor, why do I have strength? Long Qingxia took a sip of the wine. The mellow fragrance in the wine broke through his senses and made him intoxicated. He couldn't help taking a breath and took another sip. This is fairyland. Even the court also took a sip and sighed. For you, maybe you don't remember the things before that, so there's no need to say more about some things. What you only need to know is that before you were exiled, you could not have sufficient cultivation conditions like us, so your strength would be a big difference. Both of them are silent. Long Qingxia looks at the rolling clouds and waves in front of him, but he wants to go out to have a look, which is better. He can understand his environment and make the next plan better. Back in her room, the maid was ready to go to Yuguishan. She stood in the room with a tray. Long Qingxia put everything away one by one and sat back on the bed. In front of the window, the moonlight covered his whole body. He closed his eyes and began to practice again. The next morning, just opened his eyes, Long Qingxia was asked to go to the meeting hall. After cleaning up, he came to the meeting hall and saw Lianting standing there with both hands on his back and looking down at the map on the table. Looking up, he saw that the dragon had fallen into evil. He began to play with his eyes and smile. He waved to him and said, "Look, this is Yuguishan." He pointed to the map, and the dragon found out that Yuguishan and Dark Cloud Palace stand on opposite sides of the fairyland. It's hard to meet each other, but no one dares to despise each other. After going to the hot spring, it's a small matter. You must see the Sun of Light. Long Qingxia nodded and his golden eyes flashed with joy. At least if you leave this place, you can learn more than waiting for others to tell you the truth. I'll let the elder accompany me on this trip. If you don't know anything, you can ask him directly, and he will help you, so you don't have to be afraid. Scared? Long Qingxia had never been afraid of anything. He nodded, turned around and was ready to leave, but he was held by Lian Ting and said with a smile, "When you come back, you can drink with me again." The patriarch seems to be very interested in himself. Long Qingxia starts to smile and turns away. Watching Long Qingxia leave, Lian Ting can't help muttering, "This bet, I hope I win." Yugui Mountain in the gate. Yuzigi came to Shenquan Cave again. This place, which used to be regarded as a holy place, had been closed and no one was allowed to enter. Although it was clear that there was no one inside, Yuzigi still sent someone to guard at the door. In the past, he would allow outstanding disciples to come to practice, and he would also take advantage of the chance to enter the holy spring to soak. But now, facing the holy spring, he has no desire to enter the water. In my mind, Yunwu has a firm look on his face, and the dark son who is only a few months old, but still not afraid of himself. Even the descendants of the poor and strange people miss him. Clearly is the constitution of light. Why did you give birth to the son of darkness? Yuzigi murmured, frowning tightly. If the son of darkness was not her child, now I'm afraid the son of cloud dance and light would not disappear. Ah, Lord, what do you say? The bodyguard who stood behind Yuzigi thought that he had said something, but he didn't hear it clearly for a moment, so he asked suspiciously. Yuzigi's eyes were still on the holy spring, and did not answer the questions of his descendants. The bodyguard saw that the patriarch didn't respond, and began to hesitate whether he wanted to ask again. But before he asked, Yuzigi suddenly asked, "What's the matter? Have you heard from them?" The bodyguard didn't have time to think about what the Lord had just said. He quickly said, "Back to the Lord, there's no news yet." "No news?" Yuzigi frowned. "What's going on in Jiejia?" "No," the bodyguard replied. "I have already strengthened the border as instructed by the patriarch. No matter where someone destroys the border, they will be found at the first time. Patrols have been added in several weak places. It is impossible for them to get out of the border." "Yes." Yuzigi is more puzzled. "Is it difficult to go out from the main gate?" "Don't worry, Lord," the bodyguard said. "There are a lot of guards at the entrance of the border. Even the elder sits down in person. No matter what methods they use, whether they are disguised or invisible, they will be seen. Moreover, the elder also ordered that no one should enter or leave unless he had a pass." Yuzigi was silent again. In this way, they will not have the possibility to leave Yuguishan, so it only shows one situation. They are still in Yuguishan, but they don't know where they are hiding. Where will it be? Yuzigi lowered his eyes and thought seriously. The bodyguard behind him didn't dare to say anything more. He was responsible for this matter, but after so many days, there was no news at all. If the patriarch didn't blame himself, it's okay. If he really wanted to investigate, it's also his own disadvantage. Just as the bodyguard was thinking wildly, Yuzigi spoke again. "Have you ever sent someone in the city to investigate seriously? Are all the streets and alleys wanted?" "Yes." The bodyguard replied quickly. The cold sweat on his forehead was about to flow down, for fear that he would be blamed. "I also took the team to go door to door to check, focusing on the places where the outsiders lived, but no trace was found. Even the original residents of Yuguishan were informed one by one, so that once they found the trace, they would report it immediately. But up to now, I haven't heard from you." Speaking of this, the bodyguard was a little ashamed. "Alas." Yuzigi sighed, his eyes twinkled. "Is that God's will? What does it mean to let the son of darkness be born to the son of light, and let the son of darkness and the son of light be brothers and sisters? Why can the two opposite siblings survive?" Unable to understand, Yuzigi finally gave up thinking. From now on, Yugui Mountain can't get in and out of the mountain. Anyone who wants to leave will have to get the approval of the elder. Yes, the bodyguard answered quickly. Yuzugi waved and said, "Go down." Yes. As soon as the bodyguard left, the sound of footsteps rang out again. It turned out to be the bodyguard who went back. Yuzugi frowned, didn't turn around and asked directly, "What's the matter?" Back to the Lord. Someone came outside to send a message saying that the people over there are coming. As soon as the words came out, Yuzi's pupils shrank. He didn't mention the name of there, but he was very concerned about it. Yuzugi, who had never moved before, turned around abruptly, wrung his brows and asked, "How can they come here? Did you get the news?" "I don't know." The bodyguard knelt down quickly. The messenger said that the visitor had been with the elder, but he didn't want to say anything. He had to see the patriarch, so now he was still at the entrance of the border, and was not invited in. The elder said, "Don't let him know that we are looking for the Son of Light." Yuzugi clenched his fist slightly and said in a cold voice, "Go out at once and tear down all the wanted warrants in the city. The patrol team will also withdraw. Just guard the entrance and execute immediately." Yes, the guard took the order and went down immediately. Yuzi took a deep breath to make himself look calm. Although he is usually cold enough, he should be more cautious in the face of people over there. After making sure that he was the same as usual, Yuzugi left the hot spring cave. He told the guards at the gate to watch carefully, and then flew to the entrance of the border. At the entrance of the border, the elder sits in the middle of the entrance, with a small group of Yuguishin disciples on each side behind him, and there are patrols walking around from time to time. In front of the elder is a man in black. A pair of eyes look very cunning, from time to time prying around, while also saying this to the elder. The guards of Yuguishin are so strict, but they are not very friendly to other sections. At least they have to let people into the city, aren't they? The man grinned and flattered. If he hadn't known that he was from over there for a long time, and this time he was sending letters for over there, it would be easy for people to think that he meant to join Yuguishan. Otherwise, how could he be so flattering? Yuguishin's disciples have an inexplicable aversion to their. At this time, they feel even less good about the way this person talks. However, Yugishin's ancestral precept once said that he wanted to make his disciples happy and angry, so although he was disgusted in his heart, he did well on the surface. The elder in particular was able to look at the people in front of him with a smile, and said with a kind look, "It's well guarded. We should be responsible for the safety of our Yuguishin people, right? If anyone could come in, wouldn't it be a mess?" Yes. That person doesn't think of say, "We there is what person can enter," also didn't see disorderly set. Anyone can enter? The elder was still smiling. "I'll call our Yuguishin people to have a good look some other day. I heard that you have a library there, which contains many secret books. They are all rare. I've long wanted to see them. Just don't rush people out at that time." The man choked and was speechless. What else? Just now, it is clear that he said that anyone can enter. Now the elder is going to take a group of people with him. Do you want to go to the library? How is that possible? Even their own disciples are not qualified to stroll around. Haha, where? In fact, some places are not convenient for others to enter after all. The library is the same as your holy spring. If you want to go, it's really a bit. The elder was not annoyed, as if he had known that he would say so, and then he said with a smile, "Ah yes, I am so confused. I should have thought of it earlier. That's fine." There was a relief in the man's heart. But then the elder said, "I won't go to the library. I won't go to those forbidden areas so as not to say that I don't obey the rules. Then I'll take some people to your place some other day to have a look at the scenery and have a good look at your style." Once this was said, the man was confused again. This time it's really speechless. If we can refute that the library is a forbidden area just now, there is really no reason to refute it now. Just now he said that anyone can enter, but the elder of Yuguishin wants to take a group of people to go shopping. It's like a demonstration. If this time he comes out to do a task and causes trouble for the sect, why don't he be killed by the patriarch? The man just felt that the cold sweat on his forehead was about to come out, but he couldn't find any words to refute. The elder still looked at him with a happy face, not worried at all. At this time, a white figure came down from the sky, surrounded by a strong smell of light. When he fell to the ground, he didn't even lift a grain of dust. His long hair was windless, and he didn't obey until a moment later. A handsome face like a banished immortal, exudes a cool temperament, even the voice is cool. Why do people from Dark Cloud Palace come to my Jade Mountain? The man just felt that the man in front of him was not a relegated immortal, but a real immortal. A word just over his embarrassment. At this time he wanted to roar in his heart. Finally no longer have to face the old man. The elder stood up happily and said to Yuzigi, "You are here at last. This man is saying that he wants to invite us to visit the Dark Cloud Palace to see some different customs." The man's breath was stagnant, and nearly a mouthful of old blood came out of his mouth. "This elder, how come? Be a guest." Yuzigi's eyes swept over the man in front of him. In a moment he understood the cause of the matter. I'm afraid that the man was teased by the elder. For so long, no one's eloquence can match the elder's. "What are you doing here?" Yuzigi asked directly. The man sighed in his heart, and reminded himself not to pay any attention to the elder. No matter what he said, he didn't care. Then he adjusted his mood and said, "This must be Yuzi, the leader of Yuguishan. Our leader asked me to report a letter, saying that we must see you before we can speak." There was no extra expression on Yuzi Gui's face, but he had a panoramic view of the people before he met. Then he said, "Now you see me, let's talk." See that person take out a letter from the body, just want to step into the border. Someone nearby immediately stepped forward to stop him. Just as the bodyguard was about to take the letter from him, the man in charge of the clinker took it back and said, "The Lord said that this thing must be handed over to the Lord of your sect." The bodyguard turned to look at the elder and the patriarch. Just now, the elder himself told him that he was not allowed to step into the border. At this time, he took a letter which might be prepared by the master of Dark Cloud Palace himself, and wanted to get close to Yuzigi. As a bodyguard, he should not let this happen anyway. When the bodyguard was in a dilemma, a cold voice came. "No harm." As soon as Yuzigi's voice fell, he waved his sleeve, and the letter flew directly from the person's hand. Before the person could react to what happened, it flew directly to Yuzigi. The man just wanted to say something. He put out his hand and stepped forward. The next second, he was blocked by the guard in front of him. Seeing that the bodyguard didn't give in at all, he had to give up the idea of going in. He scratched his head and said, "Please come back after reading it." Jade Sun Return Light of saw him one eye. Didn't speak. The hand is again a wave, in front of letter then directly open. A piece of writing paper spread out in front of Yuzi Gui, with a few lines of words on it. "Thanks to the great love of heaven and earth, our sect finally found the Dark Emperor. When we were glad, we didn't see the leader of your sect for many days, so we handed in a salutation note. 1 month later, the Dark Emperor and several members of the sect went to visit." A short letter is only a few lines, but Yuzigi stares at it for a long time, as if to poke a hole in it. Is Lianting going to let the Dark Emperor visit Yuguishan? Is it for the Sun of Light? The Jade Sun returns in the heart to doubt. For a moment in the mind innumerable thoughts flash over. Now, in the case of Yuguishan, if they are allowed to come and find that the Sun of Light is missing, they are afraid that they will take the opportunity to wreak havoc. But if they are not allowed to come, they will inevitably be suspicious. For a moment, Yuzi Gui's eyes changed several times. The elder's smiling eyes revolved around several people. Finally, he just came to Yuzigi's side and looked at the letter. When he saw the content of the letter clearly, the elder's eyes narrowed. "Is Lianting coming?" It's the Dark Emperor." The elder said with a smile. "I haven't left for them yet. They are coming." The messenger just wanted to say that the letter can't be read by others. Then he heard this sentence and immediately learned to be good and didn't say anything. "Tell him welcome." Yuzigi's cold voice came, and with a wave of his hand, the letters in front of him ignited, and soon they were all burned up. After 1 month, the gate of Yuguishan is open to the Dark Cloud Palace. Either the Dark Emperor, or even the court can come. Jade Sun returned light of say, "You can go back." Then he turned and walked inside. The man wanted to say something more, but looking at the elder standing at the door, he laughed awkwardly, turned and walked away. From now on, Jade will return to the mountain and seal it up. The Jade Sun returns cold voice to say, "The footstep doesn't stop, every walk a step then have an order to come down. All the wanted warrants in the city have been removed, and the intensity of covert search has been increased. Besides, no one is allowed to divulge any information about the Son of Light. No matter what the purpose of the Dark Cloud Palace is, the Son of Light must find out, and never let the people of the Dark Cloud Palace have an opportunity." Moreover, he could be sure that the woman could not have disappeared from his Jade Mountain with her 2 children. As long as you don't leave Yuguishan, you can find it. It's just a matter of time. However, he did not know that many things are not absolute. The elder standing at the border behind him sighed a rare sigh, stroked his beard and said, "It seems that it's inevitable. However, the other side is much more peaceful than the dark storm here. Alleys and old houses." A few days later, the original dirty room has become much more tidy. However, there are still not many furniture in the room. There are still 1 or 2 stools and a table that can be used. But it's much better than the messy and beggar's nest in the beginning. At least it won't be dusty everywhere, and the spider web will be dirty and messy. But in addition to clean up, there is no sense of home. In fact, Yunwu has some doubts in her mind over the past few days. Naturally, this doubt is aimed at the man who has been a dirty tramp from beginning to end. "I can't see where the man came from. After a few days I never open my mouth, even if it happened occasionally. Almost exactly like a transparent person. The whole house, if not the 3 rooms in the backyard, all have traces of living such as bedding. When you check with those people if you are familiar with him, Yunwu will think that he is not an original resident at all." Of course, the current situation of Cloud Dance. She did not make redundant moves out. Although it's impossible to be completely at ease with this place, it seems that the search for her outside has not relaxed at all. On the contrary, it's more and more rigorous. So for the time being, she can't leave or choose. But this is not the way to go on. As long as in Yuguishan, sooner or later will be found one day. Her 2 children, whether it's night or the so-called Jade Mountain, she absolutely does not allow them to point to die. However, in recent days, Yunwu is inexplicably uneasy, because she found that, for no reason, the power of the dark phagocytosis in her body disappeared. Even the power of the witches driven by the body disappeared. What's worse is that she relied on her arrogance. Chaos Hall could not enter freely, and could not drive the spirit power in Chaos Hall as before. This is tantamount to cutting off her only security chip. It's like all of her powers have been evacuated or closed by something. It's the first time that this kind of situation has happened since she crossed the world. The feeling that her own strength has disappeared little by little makes her more and more uneasy. It's like that something is beginning to make her unable to master. She had guessed countless reasons for this, but in the end there was no answer. To be honest, it's a very bad feeling. Long Qingxia, where the hell are you? Thinking of the man who disappeared on the eve of the wedding, I can't help but feel a sour feeling of missing. Almost a year. The children have come out. Where on earth are you, Dada? Just as the soul of Cloud Dance was wandering and meditating, a soft sense of scratching came from his cheek, and the soft and crisp voice came from his ear, as if showing some kind of concern. Cloud Dance back to God. Looking at I don't know when she was climbing on the little fat girl in her arms, but after a smile, she gently held in her arms. Thin fingertips, cannot put down the pinch under the tender can squeeze out water to the white tender little fat face. Cold fundus surge gently. Is not with small potatoes to play? How can you come back by yourself? This girl, born to now, is not yet a full week, but it seems to be 6 or 7 months old. Moreover, she seems to be sensible, and has the IQ of a 3-year-old baby. I don't know if the gene of dragon's evil is powerful, or the world is too mysterious. That's why she asked her that. Because she has been unable to go out these days, she has no time at all. As soon as she has time, she grabs the potato and doesn't know where to go. With little potato, Yunwu doesn't worry that she will be found. and she has hidden beads on her body. But for his daughter's mischievous lively, Cloud Dance is often laughing and crying. In contrast, her younger brother, who lived for a few days that night, was more like a normal human baby. Pink, small, thin, weak as early as the child. In addition to eat is to sleep, people have to give birth to heartache. Little fat girl. This name is called incompetent Yunwoo. It's taken casually. Who told her to be fat and lovely since she was born? She hasn't taken the correct name yet, because she wants to wait for the father of Long Qingxia. For this little fat girl's name, a little girl who is under the moon doesn't seem to like it very much, but her IQ is still in the stage of ignorance, and even if she is dissatisfied, she can't oppose it. After hearing Yunwoo's inquiry, the little fat girl pursed her pink lips and looked up at Yunwoo with a look of grievance. She said with a look of grievance, "Da-da. It's a long way to go." However, Yunwoo didn't understand a word. I really can't blame her, because she found that her daughter, it seems, can only make that big sound, and can't say any other words at all. When Yunwoo was at a loss, a small potato covered with embarrassment outside the window finally flew back. However, when it saw the little fat girl in Yunwoo's arms, it obviously pouted its little mouth. After flying to the corner, it directly faced each other with one buttock, silently telling some kind of anger. Da-da-da. Little fat girl see little potato attitude, as if more aggrieved, straight pull Cloud Dance clothes, pathetic say something. At this time, Yunwoo naturally noticed that the little potato buttocks in the corner were twisted, a pair of angry performance. What's going on? Did you fight? Cloud Dance looked at the little fat girl in her arms and the little potato in the corner, and a little bit of doubt flashed in her eyes. A little fat girl like a bully, a little potato like a good temper. What's wrong? Unfortunately, Yunwoo couldn't understand the little fat girl's story at all, and little potato seemed to be sulking and drawing circles in the corner, so he didn't know what was going on. But seeing the embarrassed appearance of little potato, Yunwoo knows more or less that her daughter must have done something to make little potato shriveled. Rubbed the little fat girl's head in her arms. Are you bullying people again? Little fat girl smell speech. Pink delicate little fat face obviously a wrinkle. Big big big. A look of grievance and discontent. And the little potato who heard the little fat girl's da-da voice turned his head, snorted, and then continued to turn his butt and draw circles at her to show his silent complaint. Seeing this, Yunwoo naturally can see that little potato can understand little fat girl's words, but it seems that he is still angry. This is to let Cloud Dance some curiosity. What happened in the end? Let little potato so angry little fat girl. After all, after the birth of little fat girl, little potato, whether in protection or otherwise, almost never left. Even sometimes, Yunwoo thinks that compared with her mother, little potato has more status in the heart of little fat girl. Little potato, come here. Cloud Dance ignored the complaint of little fat girl in her arms. Instead, she waved to the little potato in the corner. She can spoil her daughter and make mischief with her at ordinary times, but it doesn't mean that she will spoil her too much. A loving mother is a loser. What's more, although little potato is a poor child, in human eyes, it's just a child. But along the way, little potato is how temperament, she can be very clear. Fat chick would not have been so angry if she hadn't done something too much. The little potato hears the sound, turns his head and sweeps the little fat girl in Yunwoo's arms with his big round eyes. Then he looks at Yunwoo. It's obvious that his pouted mouth is still sulking. Can see it but first with eyes to see the little fat girl's action. You can know it is in scruple little fat girl's attitude. Little fat girl is not satisfied when she hears that her mother doesn't pay attention to her grievance complaint. So when little potato looks at her, she naturally stares at her big eyes like anger, and threatens her little fat pink fist. If you dare to complain, I'll beat you look like a bully. And this action naturally fell into the eyes of Cloud Dance. Cloud Dance forehead appeared black line, eyebrow frown for the first time, think she is too indulgent her. Little fat girl. 3 words, with a low voice called to arouse, voice line with some serious. The little fat girl's body is stiff when she looks up at the cold Sioux eyes of the Cloud Dance. Da-da. Mom. Mother 2 words, is Cloud Dance teach her, but she still can't call out. For the first time, my mother will look at her with such a serious expression. Okay, wronged. However, even now her IQ is still in the 3-year-old child ignorant stage, but it is not nothing. Her mother was angry. Go to bed and think about it. Serious voice, once again. Little fat girl's body trembles, looking at the strange serious Cloud Dance in front of her. Little fat girl feels a little afraid and aggrieved, but after all, she is a child. Her heart is full of grievances. As soon as little red mouth pouts, big tears will fall down. To tell you the truth, any mother who doesn't care for her children, the flesh that falls from her body, let alone make her cry, is to make her aggrieved will be distressed to death. Yunwu was no exception, but she didn't soften her face and still looked at her seriously. This girl has such wisdom before she reaches the full moon. I'm afraid that she will not be like this now if she waits for a few months. If she doesn't teach at this time, I'm afraid that she will be more difficult to discipline in the future, especially for her identity as the son of darkness. If she is not careful, she will only go into danger. Woo da da. See Cloud Dance no loose expression. Little fat girl finally extremely aggrieved cry, climb down Cloud Dance arms, little fat leg unsteadily toward the next bed. The bed is as high as her head, so she can't climb it. Looking at the grievance sobbing, little fat hands clinging to the bed to climb up the little fat girl. Cloud Dance eyes flashed a touch of heartache. The bottom of my heart is reluctant. Get up. Go over and take her to bed. Avoid the position of the little brother in the package and put her in the bed. Little fat girl thinks that Yunwu can't bear to be strict with herself at last. She turns her head and looks at Yunwu behind her. When I see Yunwu again with a serious face, I feel like I'm sulky. I turn my head, turn my back to Yunwu. Face the wall and ignore Yunwu. I'll never talk to you again. This move, on the contrary, looks like a potato in the corner. See her this action. Cloud Dance's serious face finally can't help but soften down, flashed a helpless. I don't know who this little girl looks like. Yunwu didn't pay any attention to her at this time. Sometimes children coax too much against her growth. Turn around and walk towards the little potato in the corner. Goo goo. Small potato timid like looked at the direction of the little fat girl. Did not know what to say. Yunwu reached out and picked it up from the corner. At this moment, a stench suddenly poured into his nose, which was the smell of small potatoes. What's the matter? What happened? This sentence is naturally said to the little potato. Although the smell was not very good, Yunwu still carried it to the table, took out a handkerchief from somewhere, and wiped it with the pot of water on the table. Goo goo. To Cloud Dance gentle wipe, small potato likes very much, answer her in a hurry. But Cloud Dance can't understand what it says except watching it draw and draw. For a long time, little potato had to give up. It's too small to communicate with the host. Alas! However, when I think of what happened outside, little potato's big round eyes are humanized, showing a dignified concern, especially looking at the little fat girl who is facing it with her but on the bed. Little fat girl seems to have a good taste of Yunwu's tenderness to little potato. From time to time, she uses her dissatisfied hum to express her anger, and also wants to attract Yunwu's attention. Cloud Dance helpless shook his head, although did not understand what little potato said, but the heart is more and more uneasy. It seems that we have to change places. This place has been living for several days. Even if we start to evade the search, it will not be found. As soon as the idea fell, the plan naturally flashed in my heart. Little potato, go to little fat girl. After that, Yunwu got up to sort out the things she had taken out of the bracelet space these days. And the action was very neat without any hesitation. Then he carried the 2 children on his back, and went out of the room. As soon as I stepped out of the backyard, the Cloud Dance's steps suddenly stopped. Almost at that moment, I even held my breath. Small potatoes are also very tacit agreement fell on the shoulder of Cloud Dance, shielding the power of breath instantly shrouded in a big too small body. And the little fat girl behind the Cloud Dance, flat mouth, but also seems to feel the atmosphere is not right, very clever do not make a sound, just the big eyes around, a very curious appearance. Be careful not to disturb the people in the room. Yes, Captain. You go there to search, you two go to the other side, and the rest go to the backyard with me. Remember, be careful not to disturb the people in the room. There are 8 people coming in, wearing the clothes of the city guards. These 2 people can only be regarded as the ordinary city guards in the city. Generally speaking, they want to maintain the order in the city. But since the order of the Lord's secret investigation came down, almost all the bodyguards of Yuguishin's disciples were sent out. And even the lowest guards were also responsible for searching. However, this area was searched only 3 days ago. Originally, according to the area of the whole city, it could not be searched here for a while. But just when they were searching in another district, they heard something about this attachment. In such an instant, they caught a breath of darkness that did not belong to the light system. Although the breath was very weak, it was soon covered up. But for the light system, a little bit of darkness will be very abrupt. What's more, one of the targets the suzerain ordered to search was a son of darkness. Once they are caught or found, there will definitely be a big reward from the top, or there may be a chance to become one of the candidates for the sect. You know, among the people in Yuguishin, who doesn't want to break the head, want to enter the real sect, and become the official son of Yuguishin. 8 people's hearts were hot, and their movements were so light that they could even hear the needle fall to the ground. They approached the backyard step by step. This room in the black market is relatively far away from the secret position, but the only bad thing is that there is no back door. If you go over the wall or use your spiritual power, you will be found. The cloud dance hiding in the dark corner, looking at the bodyguard who is just a little bit close, frowned tightly, but in my mind it is running fast. Now the power of Magic Bite and the power of the Witch Clan are gone, and the Chaos Hall can't get in. Except that little potato can help to hide the breath temporarily. There is only Hidden Pearl. But now it's noon, hidden beads in the sun, obviously there will be drawbacks. Especially in recent days, she found that the lowest strength of the guards in Yugue Mountain is above the level of Wuzong, and most of them are above the level of Wudi. This strength, if in the human world, can almost directly stand on the top of the terrorist's strength. But here, it's like Chinese cabbage. The most ordinary people can have more than Wuzong. It's really scary. This is one of the reasons why Yunwu has been staying indoors these days. Goo goo. Here came the sound of small potatoes. Although Yunwu couldn't understand what it said, when she pointed to the weeds in the backyard, she walked very fast and carefully. The bodyguards, too careful, seemed to be afraid of disturbing the people in the backyard, which also gave Yunwu a little time. Pull aside the straw. There is a small hole in the wall of the vacancy appeared in front of us. Is this asking her to dig a dog's hole? Well, as long as it's safe, it's nothing. However, the dog hole is obviously too small. I'm afraid it's only enough for a little fat girl to get out. Cloud dance all doubt. This is not usually little fat girl exclusive out of the hole. Little Potato seems to know what Yunwu thinks. With a leap of his body, his small claw suddenly comes out. Next second, shwa shwa. The wall was like being curd dregs, and a big hole was caught in a few seconds. Although the movement is a little big, the speed is fast. When Yunwu saw this, he was too late to be surprised. At the moment of opening the cave, he grabbed the little potato in his arms, carried the figures of 2 little guys on his back, and quickly went out into the alley behind the wall. And this movement is naturally instantaneous time attracted the attention of the approaching bodyguard. Come on, go back and report. Chase. As soon as the figure of Cloud Dance got into the alley, there was a rapid and excited voice behind him. Then a few bodyguards, also with a very fast speed to catch up. This is a residential area belonging to the black market. The alleys are intricate. If you are not familiar with them, you will feel dizzy for a while. However, it is not difficult for the bodyguards in charge of this area. Yunwu feels that there is a catch-up movement coming from behind, and the speed at the foot is faster. It also makes the hidden bead play the maximum stealth effect, plus the shielding power of small potatoes. But Mingming ran away for a long time, and found that he didn't get rid of the pursuit behind him. Come on, the breath is here. The sound of footsteps, accompanied by the occasional command, sounded faintly from the alley. Breath fluctuation? How can they feel the breath fluctuation when there are small potatoes? Cloud dance brow deep lock. Fundus doubt a flash. This is how to return a responsibility. Can't the power of little potatoes support hiding their breath? But I don't know where is the problem of little potato. And the biggest reason is the little fat girl behind her. It's not that little fat girl has done anything great, but as she grows up, her own strength will grow slowly. Especially when she was in the belly of Yunwu. She almost absorbed 80% of Yunwu's strength. In addition, she absorbed it for several months in the dark place specially arranged by night. The power in her body is beyond the imagination of Yunwu. Now as she grows up, the breath of dark power in her body will become more and more strong. Even if there are small potatoes and hidden beads, they have begun to appear. I'm afraid it won't be long before it will be exposed to the public. Of course, this cloud dance at this time were no awe. Even if I was confused, I was anxious to turn around in the alley. I couldn't get into the crowd, so I had to find a place to hide. The main hall of the sect. Lord, there is news that a faint dark smell has appeared in the east corner of the city. Inside the hall, Uzigui, who was sitting on the cultivation yupu, opened his eyes. Immediately his spotless white clothes passed in the air. In a twinkling of an eye, he stepped out of the hall. Go and inform the elders. As soon as his dignified and cold voice fell, he could see that he was flying towards a certain place in the city. Before the notification disciple responded, there was no Uzigui in front of him. However, the disciple was very clever, and soon went to the Presbyterian Council to inform him. Son of light, son of darkness. Although the patriarch sealed the news, the whole Yuguishan disciples must know something about what happened before. However, what makes people curious is the mother who is rumored to have two extreme sons at the same time. It is said that she was just a beautiful woman in her early 20s. It is said that even their patriarch took the woman seriously. It is also said that the origin of the woman is very mysterious. Of course, the so-called rumors can only be heard from the audience. The specific situation is not clear to many people. But that's what makes people more curious. In a short time, there were several figures in the halls of Yuguishan, all towards the east corner of the city. As for being the protagonist being tracked, Yunwu, she only felt that the first two were big, because she found that no matter which family she ran into, no matter which dog hole she went through, the pursuers always found her direction. Little potato you. Cloud Dance wanted to say, let the little potato increase a little shielding power. But when he looked down, his words stopped. Although the little potato looks like a baby, it can be seen at a glance that its face is not quite right. In human terms, it should be expressed as pale. It's wasting too much energy. Don't ask her how to know, but she just clearly feels that little potato has used up all her energy to keep hidden. But what the hell is going on? Before in that cave, the shielding power of little potatoes could not even be felt by the master of Yuguishan. Now how could they use it? The energy is almost exhausted, and there is still no way to hide their breath? As Cloud Dance seems to think of something, face slightly changed. But in the next second, a strong force, suddenly from the corner will still be running in her suddenly pull her. The sudden pull caught Yunwu unprepared. Goo goo. Small potatoes are generally angry, with sharp little claws flying out of the air. Even Cloud Dance, also in the reaction of the moment, the bracelet purple light, Guu de Geo suddenly appeared in the hand. It's me. The deep and hoarse voice, accompanied by a very strange breath, instantly shrouded Yunwu and others. Then, at the moment when the Cloud Dance stopped, the tall and dark figure had dodged into a house at the corner with the Cloud Dance. Of course, little potato's claws, but also vigilant resistance in the shadow of the neck, but it seems that did not hurt him at all. It's him, sloppy man. Cloud Dance in reaction, this just looked up to see clearly, in front of her half forced into the arms of the man. Is not that except her slovenly man? The same dress, the same expressionless face. But the only difference is that the breath of his body is obviously different from that of this bright place. It has a trace of depression and a trace of darkness, but it will not go against the bright breath in the air. But there's always something wrong. If you don't want to be taken back, don't make a sound. There was a heat flow in my ear, and the husky voice came with a touch of numbness. Goosebumps in an instant, Yunwu eyebrows a frown. It is obvious that the man's lips touch her ear, whispering behavior, quite disgusted. But the next moment, Yunwu body is fixed. Because she felt a strong bright breath of the figure, with the speed of lightning from the air, came to the location, just where she is now in the yard not far above. It seems that as long as she moves, she will be found by that person. When Yuzigi came in the air, the slovenly man in black seemed to press his arms with a big or two small potatoes and a small potato. The warm body temperature, leaving almost no space, did not squeeze to the child behind, but can completely fit the two people together without trace. And the book touched the head beside Yunwu's ear, which was almost pasted on the white neck at this time. And the warm breath sprayed on the skin, bringing up a hint of crispy itching. This posture, this fit, with a trace of ambiguity. Men seem to enjoy this posture. In the angle of Cloud Dance can't see. The thin lips slightly upward, with a trace of fun and mystery. But Yunwu's face became more and more ugly. She wanted to break off the hands that held her mother and son in her arms, leaning forward and trying to break away. Don't move. Once you leave my arms, the Lord will find you. It's the low husky voice again. The Cloud Dance is stiff. Who is this man? Such a slovenly beggar doesn't smell like a dirty beggar. Moreover, his hands are long and white, and he can't see anything to do with slovenness. The only thing that can be explained is that the man has changed his face. Besides, he's not the one from Yuguishin. Although the breath on the body is almost the same as the breath of light, Cloud Dance just feels different. However, Yunwu didn't ask at this time, because she didn't know whether her voice would cause Yuzi's attention in the air nearby. Don't worry, it's just to block your breath. It won't do anything to you. The slovenly man's voice was low again. But Yunwu thinks that this man's words can't be believed completely. Lord. Several bodyguards who are trying their best to chase Yunwu. And then see Yuzi return suddenly, they call respectfully. What about people? Yuzi swept down the alley with his eyes. With a force, his consciousness had spread in all directions. Back to the Lord. We are looking for the breath. We are catching up here. But just now, the breath suddenly disappeared. The leader answered truthfully. Suddenly disappeared? After a fist tour, Yuzi Gui, who didn't feel the dark atmosphere, felt a little cold on his handsome face. Several bodyguards bowed their heads. Yes, it's the smell that disappears around here. Around here? Yuzigi frowned, and his sharp eyes swept down the alley again. If the bodyguard was right, the man must be near here. In the corner of the house below, the Cloud dancing in the arms of the slovenly man clearly felt the sense of a sharp line of sight. Scanning her position. The heart beat faster for a few beats, as if a strange feeling of being seen through came to my heart. For a second, Yunwu felt that he couldn't avoid it. I didn't expect that when the sharp line of sight swept to her position, it was surrounded by the strange breath around her body, which turned into a soft breath and dissipated. Blocked? No, it was ignored. How think of what, Cloud Dance not from the side head, swept around the man, but see he is still a face expressionless, slovenly face also can't see what emotion. Who the hell is he? Even the master of Yuguishin could resist the silence. Shwa shwa at this time, several figures came quickly. In the twinkling of an eye, you can see several old men in white robes standing on one side. Because of the arrival of these old men, the energy fluctuation in the air is much greater. Naturally, there was no small stir. In the city, many people who feel that the atmosphere is not right and see the fast-passing figures can't help but stop and look up to the east of the city. What's going on? Why did the patriarch and the patriarch go to the east black corner of the city? Isn't Black Point a chaotic market? Is that what happened? Who knows, but there must be something big to make the patriarch appear with the elders. Or let's go and have a look. The closer to the east corner of the city, the more people want to watch. However, as soon as the city guards saw the appearance of the patriarch, they came quickly and orderly. After a while, they surrounded the whole black corner of the east city. In addition to avoiding the escape of the people in Black Corner, of course, also put an end to some unnecessary onlookers. Whether it is the fairyland or the human world, there will be the so-called worldly sophistication. After all, the land of fairyland is not really the land of immortals. Fairyland is just a cultivator with natural spiritual constitution. To cultivate immortals is to cultivate and become immortals, and to become gods is the ultimate goal. However, even the Patriarch of Yuguishan, or the Patriarch of Dark Cloud Palace, or the cultivators of other clans, has not yet succeeded in cultivating Wuxia into a god for thousands of years. Of course, compared with the human world and the upper world, the fairyland is obviously on different boundaries, and the levels it represents are naturally different. Suzerain, is there the whereabouts of Guangming's son? The three elders could not help asking. However, when you look around, you don't notice the same. Elder, the second elder also noticed. What's the matter? Isn't it the announcement? The second elder can't help asking. After all, the Dark Emperor of the Dark Cloud Palace appeared, but their son of light, who was born in Yuguishan, was missing. Seeing that the appointed time was getting closer and closer, they were worried. But the elder opened his mouth at the right time. Depending on the situation, the woman is hiding again. In their own territory, they can't find the trace of the foreign woman. I don't know whether it's self-slapping or admiring the woman's ability. If the announcement is correct, the man must be in this black corner. Yuzi's consciousness of returning to God is still spreading around, searching inch by inch. That cloud dance, what method did she use in the end? Unexpectedly can evade his search. Thinking of that stubborn and resolute woman, Yuzi couldn't help frowning. She also has the Son of Darkness around her. She may have something that hides the breath of the Son of Darkness. She has the barrier around her, but it must consume a lot of energy. It's been several days and there should be some movement, but now there is no breath fluctuation? After thinking for a while, Yuzi spoke with dignity and low voice. Seal off the Black Point area, and every family will find out. No one is allowed to go in and out of the Black Point area until they find someone. As long as a person is in the Black Point area, even if she has something on her body that can block the breath, she will find it. Unless someone helps her. After the order of Yuzigi was given, the guards immediately took action. Yuzigi and the elders, after repeated exploration, did not find the situation, but had no choice but to return to their respective palaces. The presence of several big men in the Black Point district of the city has caused quite a stir. If they stay, they are afraid that some news will spread throughout the city. Although the city is full of Yuguishan people, and some people who have contacts with Guangming, it is difficult to guarantee that there will not be other spies dormant in the city. As soon as the elder leaves Yuzigi, Yunwu and the slovenly man are led into another underground passage. When walking into the underpass, Yunwu really doubts whether this man is a spy. This underground winding corridor cannot be completed in a moment and a half. Moreover, after half an hour, it has no end. Where does it extend? The cloud dance follows, and the man leads the way. Finally, almost an hour later, when the man finally opened a stone door, he entered a stairway. Out of the tunnel, you can see another scene. The setting sun is reflected on the continuous mountain peaks, with golden yellow scattered among the mountains, green grass plain, white dandelion floating in the air. Beautiful sunset, beautiful dandelion grassland. However, with the slovenly dressed men around, Yunwu is able to recover from such beautiful scenery. What is this place? As soon as the tunnel came out, it was automatically merged. If you didn't see it with your own eyes, you can't see it. Under this beautiful lawn, there is a tunnel leading to the city. But Yunwu was also very clear that this place must still belong to Yuguishan. The back of the Jade Mountain. The slovenly man didn't hide it, he said directly. Are you going to take me away? For some reason, Yunwu seems to be quite sure about this idea. This man must have some purpose, and this purpose must be related to her. Smell speech. The man's expressionless corner of the mouth actually slowly outlined a touch of arc, very shallow, but people cannot ignore the strange. Cloud Dance can't help but frown. If you want to return to the mountain immediately, you have to leave through the main gate of the pass. The slovenly man didn't answer her question directly, but after that, he turned and walked in one direction. Looking at the man's back, Yunwu frowned. Goo goo. Small potato. This is a small wing, around in front of the cloud, do not know what to say. And see the little potato speak. Behind that has been clever did not hum little fat girl. Also seems to be unable to stay. Was bound to twist the small body, milk exchange, big. Looking at these two little guys, Cloud Dance sighs helplessly after taking a look at her son, who is still sleeping in her arms. Now at this time, what choice can she have? You can't escape, you can't escape. It seems that for the time being, let's see what the man's purpose is. To keep up, you'd better not leave me too far, or those old guys will surely find out. The man did not turn his head back, his voice came bland. Goo goo. See Cloud Dance to follow forward, small potato flapping small wings around her. Round big eyes seem to have some worried color. It's worrying about itself. Yunwoo smiles gently. It's okay. Let's follow up first. If there's something wrong, we'll run away. These days, I'm afraid little potato also consumes a lot of energy. Small potato smell speech, cuckoo a few, also slowly stopped on her shoulder. Fat girls see their mother ignored themselves, dissatisfied with purse small mouth, but also clever did not make. However, the little fat hand is trying to grasp the little potato, doodle pink mouth. Big do not know what to say with it. West of the city. This is a place for people who are going to be able to run for Yuguishan disciples to live. The people who gather are all better gifted. It's not the same level as the east of the city. Although the surrounding houses are not resplendent, they are quiet and unique. Yunwoo didn't know how the man did it. He even had a house in the west of the city. At this time, Yunwoo naturally lived in the courtyard. As for the man, he took her to the house that day and said that as long as he didn't leave the house, he would not be found. In fact, Yunwoo really didn't come here to hang out. She just wanted to leave early. But she has tried these days. As soon as she stepped out of the room, she obviously felt that the dark smell on the little fat girl could not be hidden. Even the barrier of the little potato could not be completely covered. But when she came back to the house, the smell disappeared completely. At this point, Yunwoo guessed many possibilities, even turned the room up and down, and didn't find anything special. In desperation, Yunwoo can only stay for a while, and at the same time, try to find a way to see if there is a way to restore their lost strength. Otherwise, their strength disappeared. And with two children who were looked down upon by the public, there is a kind of depression. This day, after getting up in the morning, Yunwoo first fed the two children, and then began to sit in the room trying to enter the chaos hall. Even if the power of the evil bite and the power of the sorcery disappeared, if she could enter the chaos temple, it would be a life-saving cheating device for her. However, after trying for a few days, I still couldn't get into the hall except that I could recover and draw out some spiritual power in the Hall of Chaos. She has a special constitution. Although the bright breath of fairyland can help her practice faster, she does not dare to use half a cent now. I'm afraid that once she uses the spiritual power in the air, the energy fluctuation in the air will be found by Yuzigi. At that time, no matter with or without the help of hidden bead, she can't escape. What's more, in recent days, she can obviously feel the wave of the figure in the city from time to time. He's still looking for her. Moreover, it is more powerful than before, and the atmosphere in the city seems to have changed. The little fat girl is full and climbs to Yunwoo. Looking at the young master who is held by Yunwoo, she curiously reaches out her hand and wants to pinch his cheek. Da-da. The little fat girl is full and climbs to Yunwoo. Looking at the young master who is held by Yunwoo, she curiously reaches out her hand and wants to pinch his cheek. Tender, slippery QQ, have fun. As if he had found a new toy, the little fat claw pinched again, and his strength was a little heavier. After a while, the little brother's face turned red. Come on, little fat girl. Yunwoo had no choice but to grab her, lest she wake up her sleeping brother. Da-da. No, I want to play with my brother. The little fat girl waved her hand pitifully, and her eyes were staring at her little brother in the package. These days she is not allowed to go out to play, she is so boring. It's hard to find that my brother is so funny. She wants to play. It can be seen that Yunwoo has a firm attitude. In the end, little Pongyo can only stop dancing and settle down. At this time, however, there seemed to be a movement at the door. Da-da. Little fat girl suddenly turns her head smartly and stares at the door. Creak dash a sound. The door suddenly opened. Cloud Dance heart a jump toward the door to see. When you see the people, the heart was relieved. This man is the owner of the yard, that is, the slovenly man of that day. However, it didn't seem to be slovenly at this time, but behind the slovenliness, his face was sallow and ordinary, still expressionless. He changed face. For people who have lived for 2 generations, Cloud Dance is very clear. Wake up. The man's voice is still as hoarse and dark, as if it came from the bottom of the grindstone. It's ugly, but it's not strange. The man didn't wait for Yunwoo to answer. After that, he went to Yunwoo's room as usual, took out an oil paper wrapped thing from his arms and threw it on Yunwoo's bed. Then he turned and left. The food he brought back from the outside every day. These days, every day. Sometimes it's raw food, sometimes it's cooked meat. As for how he made the food for her, Yunwoo had tried to ask before, but he did not answer her, and later she did not ask. However, she found that during this period of time, milk, enough to feed her 2 little guys. It's probably related to the food he gave. Thank you very much. Cloud Dance to the man's backlight said. Just when Yunwoo thought that the man would leave without paying any attention to himself as before, the clinker man's step suddenly stopped, and then dropped a word. If you don't mind, you can go out and have a look. Cloud Dance along. Go out to stroll a circle? The man turned his head and glanced at her. There was a flash in his eyes. It was so fast that people couldn't notice it. However, for the Cloud Dance doubts, the man did not intend to answer, did not speak, directly left. Seeing this, Yunwoo naturally did not ask. At least, after this contact, Yunwoo feels that this man, at least for the moment, won't do any harm to her. As for his future purpose, I won't mention it for the moment. Go out for a walk, this proposal, but let Cloud Dance heart. Staying here all the time is not the way. Being in a passive state makes Yunwoo more and more anxious. And this man said to let her go out to have a look. There must be something she wants to see for herself. It's just if she goes out, what about her 2 children? The young master in his arms is sleeping soundly. The fat girl is sitting on the bed and looks at her suspiciously. She doesn't trust that man. However, if you take them out, you don't have to go far. You will be found by Yuzigi. Da-da. Little fat girl opened a pair of watery eyes, curiously looking at the clouds. Mouth issued a few vague syllables. Yunwoo frowned, worried and thoughtful. Half a ring. Little potato? Cloud Dance gently called a. After a moment, hidden in the little fat girl on the body of small potatoes will appear, although it can hide the unique dark smell of little fat girl. In order to avoid any situation, little potato chose to help little fat girl open the hidden barrier while sleeping. In this way, we can reduce the energy consumption of small potatoes. Gigi. Small potatoes spit out a bunch of messy words. It seems that the spirit is not good. I didn't expect that it could consume so much energy while sleeping. This can only show that the little fat girl's dark breath is more strong. If we go on like this, we will not be able to hide it one day. No, we have to find a way to get out of here. Think of here. Cloud Dance decided to go out to have a look, and here can only let Small Potato help to watch temporarily. Cloud Dance looks at Small Potato. The heart some worries of ask away. How are you? Gigi goo goo. Small Potato added a word. The brow of Cloud Dance frowned more tight. Looking at his weak appearance and looking at the direction of the courtyard door, he finally bit his teeth and put his hand on the little potato. He used the power in his body to send a very pure force into the little potato's body. This power is the aura of heaven and earth from the Hall of Chaos in recent days. However, Yunwoo did not dare to use too much energy. Even the delivery was careful, for fear of accidentally releasing the spiritual power to attract attention. Finally, with the continuous input of energy, little potato slowly recovered some spirit. Cloud Dance, see, this just stop. Little potato, I'll go out and see what's going on outside. Here please. Cloud Dance said. Gee. Little potato nodded, promised twice, then automatically flew to the little fat girl behind. Cloud Dance looked at his 2 children again, then turned and left the room. In the next room, the strange man didn't say that to himself at all, and he didn't find out what she was going to do. As soon as he entered the room, he began to lie down and sleep. Yunwoo hesitated for a moment, and finally turned to the door. It's already afternoon. Avoid the midday sun, with hidden beads, cloud directly and aboveboard from the door to go out. However, before going out again, he used his mental strength to scan around the door slightly. After confirming that there was no strong sense of crisis, he used the hidden bead to step out of the door. When the gate of the courtyard opened, there were people coming and going. Some of them were hunting. They were shouting their prey. More of them were people in white. After all, it's not as complicated as Black Point in the east. However, the only difference here is that the cultivation of people here seems to be higher than that of people in the area of Black Point. Because Cloud Dance found that she stepped out the moment, vaguely felt a few lines of sight. For a moment, Yunwoo felt that her hair stood up all over her body, clenched her fingertips, and immediately made a defensive posture. Can someone see through the invisibility of her hidden pearl? Moreover, there are several. Fortunately, those several lines of vision after sweeping her one eye, then flatly drew back the line of vision. Ooh, Cloud Dance can't help but get a sigh of relief. This just came out. I don't know if it's the illusion of cloud dancing. I always feel that when the door is opened, the voices outside seem to be much smaller than before, as if I'm afraid of something. But Yunwoo did not think about it, but quickly left the area and headed for the area with a lot of people. Of course, for this city, Cloud Dance is not very clear about its geographical location and so-called distribution. Only by feeling, along a road has been walking. Half an hour later, the warrant has been removed. Cloud Dance stands in front of a wall, rather pick eyebrow of looking at a blank wall to say. The news that she was wanted has been around since the moment she escaped. This city has been searched for a long time. When did the warrant go off? Did Yuzigi give up? Or did she think she had escaped from the Jade Mountain, so she withdrew the wanted order? It seems that neither reason holds. Cloud Dance can't forget. Almost every day can feel that Jade's son return the whole process search of induction. Thus visible, he is absolutely don't find them won't give up. What's more, there are still a lot of secret guard searches going on. Cloud Dance frowned and looked at it suspiciously. Then, according to the sense of direction, he went straight to the east corner of the city. In this place, I'm afraid I can only hear some news without asking others. I'm afraid it's in Black Point in the east. As long as the child is not around, Yunwoo is confident that she can enter the black corner without being found by the guard. Heijiao is the only place in Yuguishan where the good and the bad are mixed together, and the reason is mostly from the outside world, or the external practitioners. But I have to say that this is the most informed place. As the setting sun gradually sets, the clouds are dancing in a corner of Black Point. It's no surprise to see the orderly patrol troops coming and going. Black Point's guard has not been reduced at all, but the arrival of night gives Yunwoo the best hiding place. Roadside. When she heard that the roadside tea house was talking about the interview in Dark Cloud Palace 3 days later, Yunwoo realized what had happened in these days when she stayed at home. The hidden bead was invisible, so Yunwoo had to choose a tea house whose business was not very good to stand in a corner and listen to the people nearby talking about it. The Dark Cloud Palace is worthy of being able to compete with our Yuguishan sect. It can make our patriarch treat us with such a high profile and drive away all the outsiders in the city. It's really tut-tut. The man said, choking the wine in the bowl. Isn't that right? Another said, it's said that even the best part of Black Point has been cleaned. Those who used to be crazy, and those who did evil and made people headache, have been taken out now. It's said that Li Wangtu, who used to be very rampant, has directly forbidden him to step into Yuguishan again. The first one said, there are a lot of fugitives in Black Point. Have they been let go? Yes. So strict. The first one said, there are a lot of fugitives in Black Point. Have they been let go? No way. I heard they were all arrested. You see, even the wanted notice for mother and son just pasted some time ago has been removed. I heard that it has been recovered. It's hidden in the black corner. Really? The two continued to say something, but Yunwoo was stunned. Mother and son wanted? Isn't that who you are? When was he taken back? Cloud Dance frowned and saw that the two people's topic had been pulled to other places, but he could not show up to ask directly, so he had to change places to continue to inquire. It's said that the Dark Emperor of the Dark Cloud Palace has returned. It's the Dark Emperor who's coming to Yuguay Mountain this time. It's estimated that he's showing off his power. What happened to the Dark Emperor? Don't forget, we have children of light. As long as the Son of Light is in Yuguishan, even a Dark Emperor is not afraid. Aha, that's right. It's said that the Patriarch has found the Son of Light back, which makes us feel relieved. Cloud Dance has been going around many places in succession. The words Dark Emperor, Dark Cloud Palace, and Son of Light are constantly popping up. Later, after listening to many people's words, Cloud Dance finally understood. It turned out that it was Yuzi who turned to be lustful. I was afraid that other people would know that the so-called bright sun was missing. This is good news. At least, on the surface, Yuzigi's people won't come to search in a big way. However, what Dark Cloud Palace? What Dark Emperor will come to this Jade Mountain? This is not the best chance to leave. After hearing some meaning, Yunwu was not in a hurry to go back, but took advantage of the invisibility of the night to turn around a few places, and try to listen to the news that the Dark Emperor was coming to Yuguishan. Unexpectedly, after this inquiry, Yunwu roughly recognized the fairyland structure at this time. This is fairyland. As I said before, it's not a real immortal, but a spiritual land that is superior to the human world. They are all people who cultivate immortals and have natural spiritual roots. Of course, no matter where it is, there are advantages and disadvantages. But even those who are born with the worst spiritual roots are gifted by human standards. It can be imagined that this fairyland continent is another interface that the human world can't match. On this fairyland, there are three major situations: land, water, and forest. There is not much news about the waters and forests. However, from those discussions, the land is roughly divided into two groups, the light group and the dark group. There are countless sects between the two factions, and the spiritual power of cultivation is opposite. In the south, the boundary of the light system, and in the north, the boundary of the dark system, separated by a natural barrier forest. The natural barrier forest is said to have the power to separate the two schools, and it is also a place where the practitioners of the two schools are not allowed to break into. However, it cannot stop the friction between the two factions. This Son of Light represents the most gifted Son of Heaven in the Department of Light, and so is the Son of Darkness. As for the Dark Emperor of the Dark Department, it is said that he is second only to the Son of the Dark. Before the Son of the Dark grows up, the Dark Emperor has enough strength to make the Light Department fear him. However, the Dark System has a Dark Emperor, and the Light System naturally has a Ming Emperor. But from those discussions, Yunwu's rumors about the Ming Emperor in the Guangming dynasty are rare. In the end, Cloud Dance did not stay more. Although the effect of concealing beads could be the best in the dark, she was worried that her two children would go back as soon as possible because they had almost heard the news. Phew. Just stepped out of the alley not long ago. Suddenly, a few wind-breaking figures came from the clouds in all directions. The speed was unexpected. Yunwu's face suddenly changed and he almost subconsciously turned to the other side of the alley. She felt that she was not an opponent of those people. The strength of people here is the lowest in Wuzong, and from the point of view that these people can see through the hidden pearl, their strength is definitely higher than that of Wuling. Miss Yin, please don't struggle anymore. Our patriarch has been looking for Miss Yin all the time. A white figure of Dea Guxianfeng, in the twinkling of an eye, blocked the way of Cloud Dance. For people just around, surrounded the Cloud Dance just out of the alley. Yunwu didn't remove the hidden beads. Instead, she looked around at the four young men. They were dressed in a uniform white robe, with a white jade tag on their waist and a long sword with precious jade. They were all pretty and indifferent. People who don't know, when they see these people's temperament and aura, they will surely feel like immortals. But Yunwu is too familiar with the costumes of these people. They are the entry-level disciples of Yuguishan sect. What's more, the jade plate they are wearing should still be the advanced disciples. Unexpectedly, Yuzigi sent advanced disciples to ambush here early in the morning. Just waiting for her to come? Yunwu frowned slightly. Miss Yin, please welcome our lord. The man who just opened his mouth, looking at the cloud dance without expression, made a gesture of please. Is the hidden pearl useless in their eyes? Originally, I thought it was a treasure to protect my life, but I didn't expect that it was useless in front of these sectarian disciples. It really made me feel bad. However, Yunwu doesn't know that the hidden bead is a treasure in the human world, but in the fairyland, it is just a useful shield for the lower self-cultivation people. What if I don't? Cloud dance see hidden bead useless, also can only remove the hidden bead, appear in front of the man. The pretty disciple, after Yunwu appeared, still replied without expression. If Yunwu girl doesn't cooperate, then we can only offend more. After that, a white light flitted by, and the cold touch appeared on both wrists with a trace of heaviness. Handcuffs. When Yunwu looks down and sees the extra handcuffs on his wrist, the sense of crisis at the bottom of his heart drives the idea of breaking free. I advise Miss Yin not to have the idea of breaking free from the immortal lock. The immortal lock is a treasure of the immortal level. Once you want to break free, the immortal lock will automatically enter the full mode state. At that time, Miss Yin will not look very good. The whole mode will develop into a state of whole body binding. It's really overqualified to use the immortal level treasure to deal with a woman with low accomplishments. But it's such a woman that the whole sect spent almost all the disciples searching for her for more than half a month. Since your patriarch asked me to come over, would you be too embarrassed to use handcuffs? Cloud Dance frowned and raised her hands to them with a pair of handcuffs that gave off light white light. That's what they call xiansua. I think your lord didn't embarrass me, did he? How can I say that I am the mother of the son of light in your mouth? This is how you treat the mother of the son of light? Cloud Dance willow eyebrow a pick, smiling at four people, but the language of indifference is very obvious. Now she is completely in a passive state. She can only try her best to break away from such a passive situation. Otherwise, I'm afraid there is really no way out. After hearing this, the four people looked at each other, and there seemed to be a flicker of hesitation in their plainness. The Lord has an order. If Miss Yunwu doesn't cooperate, we can work together to invite Miss Yunwu back by non-means. The man headed by the four said calmly. Cloud Dance is a faint smile. No cooperation? Do you think I'm not cooperative now? This is a crime imposed on you. I don't know that you will be your master later. Can I appeal to you? The cool air changed into a lazy appearance. For people slightly frowned at Yunwu. They knew that she was trying to be reasonable, but they couldn't really follow the common people in the human world. It's too disreputable. The suzerain wanted them to use certain means to forcibly take people back under certain circumstances. But just as Yunwu said, she is the mother of the son of light. Even if she really wants to fight and escape, they can't hurt her at all. If she doesn't look at the monk's face and the Buddha's face, it can be said that the mother's son is expensive. In addition, she is still secure. Finally, the four of them looked at each other and secretly passed some information to each other. Then they evacuated the immortal lock in Yunwu's hands. Well, Miss Cloud, dance this way please. Behind the Hall of Three, one leads the way, dancing in the middle, towards the path leaving the Black Point area. Even if Cloud Dance wants to get rid of this situation, it finds that there is no chance at all, because she found that there were two guards not far away from each fork of the lane they were taking her along. There are two people at each fork, and this black corner is the most mixed place in the whole city, and the area is also the most complex with the most lanes. Unexpectedly, Yuzi used so many disciples to catch her. Cloud Dance immediately don't know as for his attention should smile or should cry, as for? After a stick of incense. 5 people around from the black corner lane came out, and outside the lane, a carriage that looked very exquisite stopped there. In addition, there were more than a dozen disciples in uniform white robes waiting. Even in the dark, there were many onlookers. When I saw the Cloud Dance coming out, the whispering voices around me spread wave after wave. Who is this? How can we send out the closed-door disciples from the sect of the Patriarch? That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.